Hello, sir. Are you collecting points at McDonald's today? Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
You scan it when you come up. What's your
I
order?
won't do that. I'll give you my codes for the box, please.
No, we're not doing that today, sir.
One, two, three, four.
You have to scan it up at the window.
I'm going to give you my code now.
Our system is down. We can't do that.
How is
right
your
now.
system down that it can only take my? You're not scanning my phone.
The number is broken on our inputs.
I will give you
we
the
just
number
have,
that is on my app on my phone.
We just have to scan the QR code when you come up to the window, please.
Have a nice day.
Now you're stuck in the line.
No, I'm not. 9 times in 10, there's room to move around to the right or the left.
You think I'm gonna lose?
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, part 2 of the Week 13 picks against the spread. We got a Cust corner. I do want to let all of you know we are sponsored by Underdog, and you should use code MAYO at Underdog right now. You get a Thanksgiving free pick, a Sunday free pick, a free pick for whatever day of the week you want, but this is also Feast Week on Underdog from November 27th through the 30th. They'll be stuffing the lobby, stuffing it. Full of promos, discounts, tokens, free picks, and more. Use code MAYO. Go sign up right now. And there's college football drafts on the go right now, too. So if you listen to Raza and know who these people are, you could probably win a ton of money because 9 out of 10 of people doing these college basketball drafts aren't going to know who anyone is. So if you have an edge in college basketball, Underdog is where you need to be right now. Geoff, we recorded our show before you went live watching the Chargers game on Monday night. How you feeling the day after?
Fine.
Oh, good.
I don't know. Losing to the Ravens doesn't. It's kind of what I said last week. I don't know that it proves anything. I think it kind of just cements the Chargers as the team that, I don't like that. I feel like you, Pat, have been saying that they are. They're good. They'll beat the teams they're supposed to. They're not good enough to beat a group of 5 or 6 teams in the league. Anyone else, they might win the game. The things, I don't know, like penalties, drop balls. Quentin's a focus, and that's obvious, but we had a Quentin Johnson at left guard last night. Seemed to have 6 pressures allowed, so that was an issue. And Derrick Henry, he's hard to tackle, and he wore the Chargers down. But at halftime, I feel like I said to Rob, even before the true Quentin experience happened, my takeaway at halftime was to hang with a team like this. Chargers are going to need another draft or another offseason. The diminished playmakers, those were good enough to beat a lot of the teams that they've played. Not good enough to beat Baltimore. So I'm annoyed about some things the ref did. I'm annoyed about some drops, but I think the result was fair. So we gotta, try to not have this snowball into a handful of losses as they gotta play a team off a bye. That would be my thoughts.
Okay, well, you seem very well measured, although gleefully waiting to chime in because it's been a big 24 hours for him, at least according to him. It is Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
Not my name. It's been an excellent 24 hours.
What does that mean?
Let's just say that if there was any debate as to which way the election was tilting between us, Jeffrey, you and Rob have done some contributing to my side of things by your behavior and going on Rob's show.
Are you kidding me?
The various
the way
you acted,
no one.
the way you acted yesterday on the show here.
No one who actually is a longtime viewer of our show thinks I could have been that weird last night. Literally from my wife last night.
My wife?
I've never seen you more. Oh no, my fat thumb scrolled hard. 9:15. It's weird that people think you're being crazy. I've never seen you as tame. I think you're doing great. So, I don't know. I sat there, I watched the Chargers game. Quentin Johnson had a devastating drop.
It wasn't just that. It was
the refs
that
were
plus,
picking up flags. I don't
It was your tour de force on yesterday's Thanksgiving show as well.
Listen, hold on a second. You think you can tackle Derrick Henry?
You have an unstoppable hatred for Canada's most beloved
Oh, it
franchise.
sucked.
And all I had to
It's
mention was one sentence, and it sent you onto a 15-minute tirade
It was
of
good. It was
vitriol.
entertaining. I know I'm insane. I'm weird. I'm not normal. You're most insane. So
Well,
that's
we're going to
fine. But
see.
we got a long way
I believe
to
it was
go.
a poll run. Was a poll run last night during the show? I believe one was, and I believe it was basically a dead heat.
Now, in fairness,
This is like the Kamala polling. This is youth that this is last night will have zero bearing on the electorate.
If you don't think that the last 24
me ranting and raving about a chain that is clearly diminished, that every Canadian citizen knows how diminished it is, whatever. You still thinking the Jets are awesome last year or will be awesome next year is probably more damning to that audience.
a lot of things said and done the last 24 hours will be used in campaign ads against you.
Okay, man.
You basically went on TV and said there's nothing that you would do differently. Okay, well that's good.
Wouldn't
Because
I
we're going to
do
use that. We're
differently
going to
about
use that.
what?
was Geoff encouraging the Chargers to run their pick six play during the game last night?
Basically. That was basically what Geoff was up to. Yes,
I
in the
don't
last
even.
24
What
hours.
what did I do on the stream per se that would be so?
There are a
damning?
lot of fantastic still shots that we would be able to compile.
Okay, let's put they had a 50-yard great touchdown before the half. They scored a 50-yard rushing touchdown. The refs were picking up flags. I don't know, me going like this is very common for a minute or two when watching a Charger game. I don't know. Congrats, I guess. Anyone who knows the show and watched the football game, you think you can tackle that guy.
You just keep doing what you're doing is what I have to say.
Okay, well,
you just keep on keeping on.
No, you keep on keeping on.
Okay,
you
well, I
keep
guess
on
we'll
inventing indoor golf courses and sports world. And,
all sports, and people love that idea.
You know what? You just keep.
In the sequel to Matt Damon owns a zoo, we're gonna have Cust owns a rec center and see how that goes.
I mean, someone even mentioned to me the other day, and going to give credit to Gary in here because I think he alluded to something similar. Is the Chargers are 7-4. The Dolphins have won 3 games in a row. When the Jets do that, regardless of their circumstance, Tim would think he would be telling people is that they're going to the Super Bowl, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
When the Dolphins do it, Garion still feels dread. When the Chargers are doing it, I am still waiting for impending doom. You seem to if the situation was reversed, you'd be talking about New Orleans.
Maybe it's something to be said about Tim's internal optimism about everything.
That's a way to put it. Except dancing snowmen.
Oh yeah, they're out.
Well, I think it's just obnoxious.
Is it out yet?
Just I yes. Saw it the other day. Look, here's my only point is that in a race that was decided by 20 votes out of 10,000 last year, Geoff's behavior over the last day or so was an in-kind contribution to our campaign. And if you want
everything you can get, because you've really got very little. The amount of material you had a year ago at this date versus the straws you need to grasp for this time, I can understand why the last 24 hours is huge for you. I would argue a year ago, the last 24 hours wouldn't even have moved the needle. You had so many things. So something like that in this current climate where I haven't given you much in this year, I guess, you need to take everything you can get. I honestly don't believe the audience will hold stills of me watching a Charger game in prime time at a place I do not want to be while things are going their way. against me that hard.
And you have to you have to remember that Custy's voting usually comes down to the 2 weeks when Custy's voting opens and everyone votes. So it's a lot like the MVP in that way, in the awards that we talked about in part 1 of this show, if you missed it, by the way. That so much is determined by those primetime games at the end of December, Geoff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of voter
that
fatigue.
Makes a lot
too.
of sense. Early voting, a lot changes. People are very anxious and gung ho because they have an opinion over something they believe in. And I'm, I'll say this for Tim and his minions. Like, I don't think yesterday's going to be the worst of, like, I'll probably give you more.
We expect
at
this
times my fountain spews, but you are a never-ending drip. You're a never-ending drip.
Well, if the bottom falls out of this Chargers team, I think we're going to have some fun in this show.
You might get that. You might get that. And my head quickly goes to a dark place of competition because they lose a game and off a bye. The other team's off a bye. They got to travel. I think they're pretty tired because they got worn down yesterday by a better football team. So I don't think Sunday's going to be easy. And then if they don't win Sunday, they play the Chiefs. So it is very easy to picture where this becomes.
And then on Thursday night.
No, then they play Tampa.
Oh, the Tampa, then the Thursday night game? Okay.
But then they have a soft landing with a Patriot Raider finish. But yeah, I mean, I have 9. I got to find the extra win. That being said, Tim, a couple weeks ago, you projected the Chargers to go 0-4 in this stretch. And through 2, they're 1-1. And God willing, they can come out of the next 2 1-1. That would hopefully be outstanding and to sort of hold their line. But yeah, the Dolphins are coming. The Colts seem fun. The Broncos
hold on. Why are the Colts fun? What's fun about the Colts?
I don't know.
There's nothing fun about that. Nothing fun about that team.
Yeah, but are they like? Are we counting them out?
I mean, I am. I mean, no, they shouldn't be counted out, but I am counting them out because I don't think they're any
that's
good.
Fair. I would clearly. I think we all agree the Dolphins are pretty widely ahead of them, but like we said yesterday, is it next week? The Colts Broncos game, could be the Colts season.
Yes. But let's recap what happened last week. If you missed the picks for Thanksgiving and Black Friday, that's in part 1 of this show. But we wanted to wait to recap the week until the Monday Nighter actually happened. So let's do that right now. Cust, you won the week and move into first place overall in the spread pick'em for the year. You went 7-5, which brings you to 87-84. Geoff and I both go 5-7 because we're awful at picking all the games. I'm 75-96. That's bad. Geoff is only 2 games ahead of me at 77-94, and the Cust has its worst week of the season at 4-8. They're now 85-86.
You called the coin the Cust.
The Cust?
You said it was the worst.
No, sorry. The coin had its worst week of the season at 4-8. 1 game below 500 right now. The Super Locks did go in my favor. I won again. Both you guys lost. I'm now 11-1 in Super Locks, Geoff. You're 5-6. Cust is 4-8 because he went against me in the Super Locks, and Cust lost his 6-point teaser from a week ago because the Chiefs did not cover their end of the bargain. So that's where we sit. I do want to mention that
Congrats, Tim.
The underdog.
Congrats for what? A teaser that didn't hit? Why are you saying congrats?
You got into first place. You're doing great in with all the picks.
That didn't sound very sincere. And I'm just saying, like, that sounded like, like a Bronx cheer over there. Only good work that you're ahead. Like, sure, it's another opportunity to denigrate my accomplishments.
You got into first place. That's an achievement.
Well, thank you. I've been well ahead of the 2 of you for weeks, but I finally got ahead of an arbitrary flipping coin, and now I deserve plaudits. Okay, I see how it works.
The underdog play for Monday Night Football was a big winner. So if you used code Mayo and even threw on the 3 pick, you won 6 times your money on Monday Night Football, which is always really nice. And Geoff, I talked about this on a few other shows. I haven't talked about it on this one, which is probably the one that I need to be talking about it on. But I was thinking about doing a meetup in Toronto for all of us, do a live show, maybe meet some fans this summer. I'm going to pencil that in. Don't have a date yet, but I wanted to let the viewers know that if there are people who tune out at the end of football season and don't pay attention to golf, that if you sub to the Mayo Media newsletter, when I get a date and everything like that finalized, I will send that out in the newsletter so you guys don't miss it, even if you're not paying attention after the Super Bowl. Just want to throw that out. Are you gung-ho? Are you in on this 100-meter dash? You going to train?
I gotta get the wheel ready. The start of that race might be one of the funniest things ever. Like, yes, the race will be funny, but watching the three of us get out of the blocks, I don't think there will be a funnier part of it. And that's honestly my concern. I don't know how to get off the blocks, and I don't really have a top speed, and I don't know how to hit my top speed that quick. But I'm still pretty confident in how I'll do versus the competition, as they should be confident that they'll do well against me. I mean, I would respect that as well.
Tim, do you want to go to the track and we'll start training?
No, and I'm also not confident at all that I'll do that. I never once made any proclamations that I would.
Yeah, me neither. Well, actually, I did. Once it was declared, I said I was gonna win, but I feel like, yeah, I don't know. Unless Cam appears to be some rumored speed demon, but that is a self-proclamation. It's like when your friend Eric calls himself the Big E.
I don't even have a friend named Eric.
Eric, self-proclaimed, nickname.
Oh,
So I don't know. Maybe Cam's a self-proclaimed tiger, like out of the blocks. I got no idea, but any opportunity for Tim to travel, I'm sure he'll use anything that doesn't go well over that weekend. He'll just blame on excuse and, just being in a different area code or something, having experienced him on a trip.
I've already had people reach out to me about getting rounds at golf at very exclusive clubs in the GTA, so maybe we can just do that.
Won't they ever reach out to me?
Well, because they love me, Geoff. You probably yelled at them.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Where they had you to their club and you changed your shoes in the parking lot like some animal, and they didn't want you back.
Yeah, listen, some days, under certain conditions, you got to change your shoes in the lot. Yeah, I've explained it before.
Bad form. That's bad form. That's bad form.
There are just people. I know if I've only got a couple minutes, I don't have the time to be respectful in the locker room.
I see. So the rules of etiquette only apply when it's convenient for you.
Like if I'm literally pulling in, my tea time's in like 6 minutes.
Don't pull in that late. Don't pull in that late.
No, you're right. That's rule number 1. But let's say you're in that spot and then you go in and then, and then beside your locker is like, a friend of your dad's and he wants to say hi. So you say hi and then it's someone else. So it's just, that's all I mean. I think people either get it or don't get it, but just, I don't know how to explain it.
No, but it's kids like you that are going to ruin the rules for future generations. You've got a long history of rules being constructed at the club, and youngsters like you
the rules are
going to completely.
I love it. When they send out an email from the disciplinary committee, I almost want to wear a red hat that says "Make Oakdale Great Again." Like rules. The rules are very important.
What type of rules are disobeyed the most? Like not raking sand traps, or like what? When these emails come out, what do they tend to be about?
It's always different. It's always different. But I love when the disciplinary committee is getting involved because people should be afraid of breaking the rules, and they should know if they're going to break the rules, there's a chance they're going to get put on blast.
So you're okay with being put on blast then for breaking the rules?
If it was for shoes in the lot, I would accept that. If that's where they're gonna get me. But in terms of like dealing and interacting, I'm only the most respectful, polite, courteous. I'm so lucky to be there. I don't have a complaint in the world like some other people do.
But if Mrs. Mandelbaum snitched on you, I bet you want to make sure that every time she goes in the sand trap, that thing is raked immaculately.
Do you want to know something? I was in these, it was like a Ricky Fowler line of shorts, like very kind of loud and exciting, but they didn't have like the proper standard buckle. Right? For Golf Puma. And I'm on the range and I'm not going to name the person, but I know the name. He complained to a staff member like 15, probably like 10 to 15 feet from me, within earshot, about me. And I heard the staff member tell him, like, I know it's not like what you're used to, but those are allowed. They're allowed. Like what I was wearing is allowed. I would never break dress code protocol. Allowed. So that really pissed me off. And if I see that guy on the sheet and there's like an opening in front, I'll play my slowest golf of my life. Like of my life. Like now it's a vendetta. The one thing about complaining about someone is you don't want them to hear you complaining about them. That's not going to work. That's not going to work.
Tim, would you like to recap the Pilgrim parlay for people that may not have watched part 1 of the show?
Yes, sir, partner. The Pilgrim parlay is teasing down the Detroit Lions. It's a 7-point tease. Teasing down the Lions, down the Cowboys, and teasing up the Dolphins. I will say I am a little concerned that we may not get DeVito in the game.
I know. This is terrible
Which
news.
means it's no longer the freest money imaginable. But what it also means is that Mr. Thanksgiving, aka Tim Boyle, may very well make an appearance in that game. And I'm ready for it.
Would they start Boyle over Drew Lock? Are they just like really dead set
No.
on not paying Drew Lock a bonus that they're just not going to play him?
I'm saying, like, Tim Boyle has played on Thanksgiving at least twice, hasn't he, for the Lions? So
And he played.
feel like
he played
yeah.
Black Friday last year for the Jets, didn't he?
yeah. So like, I'm just put it this way, I'm concerned.
I mean,
I'm concerned.
as bad as this sounds, and I know I've been trashing Tommy DeVito for like 2 weeks. I don't know how much better Tim Boyle is than Tommy DeVito.
Tim Boyle is the worst quarterback in the NFL I have ever seen. Bar none.
We
Like,
just watched
DeVito is
Tommy
bad.
DeVito.
Worse
DeVito,
than-
DeVito is
DeVito
bad.
has
than
one game.
Peterman?
DeVito has won 2 or 3 games last year.
Worse than Peterman?
Peterman had a terrible start to his career, but then got to the point where he was no longer
Ian
like
Book?
humiliatingly bad. Book played like 1 game. I'm telling you that Tim Boyle is the worst quarterback I have ever seen play. And I've seen a lot of bad quarterbacks.
He played
Could this
8.
be like a reverse curse thing?
No, I'm just telling you, he's not good. And
I was asking someone else.
oh, okay, sorry.
I don't know, but yeah. Tim Boyle's 0-5 as a starter in the NFL.
He's, I guess, yeah, 5 starts. I will be honest, I am not feeling as good about Detroit as I was yesterday. And the line moved against me, which is fine. I mean, not looking to bet the Bears.
All right, well, let's
But,
see if we can find some games to bet on Sunday. Let's jump into it because I'm very excited, weirdly, about this first game. Arizona at Minnesota is the first one, and the Vikings are 3.5-point favorites at home here. Tim, is this the rebound spot for the Cardinals and where the Vikings actually get got? Because I kind of feel like it is.
I don't know. Do you think it's the rebound spot?
I do.
Yeah. So I really like Arizona here in this game. Getting the hook in particular. I think it's going to be a very, as most Minnesota games have been recently, I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game that will come down to the last 4 minutes and the last 1 or 2 possessions. I don't think there's a whole lot in between these two teams. So if you're going to give me 3.5 points for the Cardinals, I will take it. I don't know that I love them to win, but I really like that number.
Yeah, I'm exactly where Tim is,
Close game.
Geoff, on this. I really like the hook here, and it just feels like a field goal game to me.
You know when you're not having the greatest 1 o'clock slate, but then you're like clinging to the game that you are winning
Yeah.
because like you need it and you need it to hold. Well, that was me, and the game that I needed to hold was the Chicago Bears. So quite the push that turned into reliving it in my head now on Sunday. Tim's Arizona Cardinals. Hey, Tim's Arizona Cardinals. It's a tough one. The hook is attractive. Could see why. It's hard for the purposes here to turn down the hook. So I kind of see it as Tim sees it.
All right.
He's a wise man. A lot of wisdom. Give me the Cards 3.5.
Yeah, the coin is on the Cardinal. That's a round of Cardinals to kick things off in week number 13. And
Bird
it's not
week.
What's that? Birds week. Well, we'll see if Cam goes back. That'll come out on Friday, by the way, because we're live on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time for Thanksgiving and Black Friday best bets, and then the best bet show with Rob and Cam will come out later on Thursday for the Sunday slate of games. But yeah, maybe there is theme. He needs to go back to Cam went 2-1 last week, so he's got to be on top of the world after Tennessee outright wins for his gold pick of 8.5. I think that was his gold pick anyway. Either way, just looking at the Cardinals, I don't know. The defense for the Vikings can really cause a lot of issues here, but the Cardinals are just kind of above average at everything. And it just seems like that's the kind of team that's going to give the Vikings a lot of problems where, maybe Jefferson gets more involved in this game. They can get him going again. But it was nice to see that in overtime when it really mattered the most, that Darnold played really well and turned to Hawkinson and finally started to unleash him as a weapon. I just don't know if that the Vikings are going to be able to really stop that intermediate passing game that Kyler has. If they can send the blitz at him and they get through, can Kyler elude that, then make the plays down the field? Because we saw, you watched a ton of that game, Geoff. Towards the end of the game, that's what they were doing to Caleb Williams. Then Caleb Williams was just escaping the pressure. He wasn't making the quality of throws that Kyler Murray is capable of. So I would actually think that it would probably be better for the Cardinals in that sense.
Yeah. I guess the Cardinals could see a lot on tape and find reasons to be able to have the success. I think the Cardinals defensive line is underrated and can hold that running game in check. And I don't know, my Vikings, but they got to give one back here. And maybe it'll be the classic Viking because they've won a lot of the 3-point games, win, push, don't cover on their road here to this 9-2 record. But I can't turn down the 3.5. I think.
Well,
I don't want to bet it though.
Well, let's get to one of the games of the day. I moved this one up in the schedule. We got the Eagles at the Ravens. Ravens coming off the win against the Chargers on Monday Night Football. It's 3 right now. I think this vacillates between 2.5 and 3 all week. 51 is the over-under. Geoff, we'll start with you. You just got first hand with Baltimore. But remember, I promised myself I wouldn't forget this. Lamar owns the NFC.
What's the record there?
22-1, Paul?
23-1?
23-1 against the NFC?
That's pretty good.
Nah, maybe it could be in 2. It'd still be a good record, but it feels like Philly is better right now. And, let me get your take on this. Before Dobbins left the game on Monday night, it seemed like he was having success on the ground against the Ravens, right?
There was still a lot of, for every run that was helpful, it still felt like there was a lot that was just ending at the line of scrimmage or beyond or behind it. So it was kind of boom or bust. We weren't getting just a standard 4-yard carry on first down. I don't think much of those.
So do they have any chance of containing Barkley here?
Yeah. They have one of the best run defenses in the league. Barkley's been a wagon. I feel like this week between Allen playing in prime time and this game with these two running backs that are trying to find their way, I think we're going to see a lot of movement in those MVP numbers this week. With Lamar playing Philly, Allen in prime time, these two running backs. So that movement you were speaking about yesterday, that's very much still coming. I think it's about to come here. Baltimore, I'm going to take Philly. I don't feel very strong about it. Is this CBS or Fox?
I don't know. Tim, do you know?
I'll look at it right now. It's the stuff I care about.
It's an NFC game playing in an AFC spot. So doesn't Fox get NFC games on the road?
No, Tim, for 3 years, I've tried to tell you that rule doesn't exist anymore. It's a CBS game.
Well, last week Brady.
It's just not consistent.
There's
There's no consistency to it that you could identify what the matchups mean for the networks.
Okay. Last
In the
week, America's
past, we
game of
used
the
to.
week.
There was a pattern. Like
Last week was a Fox game. Was America's game of the week. So I feel like this should be a CBS game.
It is a CBS game. Isn't that what Geoff just said?
Yeah, it is a CBS.
It's weird. But now I don't know who will call it because oftentimes they'll give their top guys the week off when they do Thanksgiving. So
Was there is the main CBS crew on Thanksgiving this week? Is it?
yes, always.
So
it's always on Thanksgiving.
So it's probably not going to be Nance and Romo then. I would very much doubt that. Or
It could. Sometimes they double.
No, I think they
sometimes
will.
double it up.
In football,
Sometimes
for this
they do it.
game, with these
That's it.
records, these teams, I actually fully. There's no way it's not Nance and Romo doing.
Sometimes they
duty.
double it up. Sometimes they don't.
They're doubling up.
Everything in me,
that's irrelevant. I just care about those weird, the weird nuances of the league. I'm going to take
Philly. You already said that.
I'm going to take Philly here.
Okay. So is the
Uncomfortable.
coin. Tim, everything in me thinks I should be taking Philly, but I'm not. I'm going to take Baltimore.
22-1. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I'm picking the Ravens every time until the Ravens don't come in against an NFC team.
Hey, I'm really interested to see, and we haven't seen that many high-level matchups. I think the biggest one that really sticks out in my mind is the Houston and Minnesota game, being like, oh, here's an emerging NFC team against one of the elite AFC teams. But then you look at Houston now, being like, it's a good win, I suppose, but it's not like you knocked off the Bills or something like that, or the Ravens in that stance. That maybe the top of the AFC is still a lot better than the tier 2 to tier 3, 4 of the NFC. At least that's the way that I'm playing it in my mind because, Philly, it's Detroit, then Philly, but are all of the good AFC teams in between Detroit and Philly right now, I guess is the question. And
I would have picked Baltimore against Detroit this week too. I just had a principle.
Principle of what? Oh, the
That
Lamar
he
stat.
crushes NFC teams. It wouldn't matter who they were playing.
So you would take
Is this
Baltimore over
like
the Lions
I'm
in the
going to
Super
just
Bowl?
go. I want to say something, and I agree. This number is incredible. I feel like if I pop off some 22 game trend, it'd be attacked that the size isn't big enough.
But it's a logical one because these teams don't ever see
Yeah,
him.
no, I get it.
That's why.
I get it.
And it's not like this is a stat. I mean, you're not like over the past 34 years, Lamar has this record against the NFC. It's not like he's been in the league for 15 years.
Yeah, it'd be like if you said yesterday, well, Patrick Mahomes' record on Fridays is unbeaten, so you got to take him.
That is true. He is undefeated on Fridays. But I didn't take him. You guys, is that why you guys took Kansas City? Because he is undefeated on Fridays?
Absolutely, no other reason.
I can see
He's
that.
either starting AOC in that game.
Yeah, I saw that now too. And the
That line should now be 20. That line should be 20.
it went to 12.5.
It needs to go up. I don't understand how at 17 it's attractive to take Oakland. I don't understand how high it can get. Anyway.
I still like Vegas in that game. Just division game. Give me Vegas in that spot with that many points. Yeah, with Baltimore here, I think you're onto something with just when you don't see Lamar a ton, that it throws you off. Like he's just so much different than every other quarterback you're really going to play.
The teams that don't see Georgia Tech or Navy in college very often struggle against them because they don't know how to defend it. And the teams that see them frequently do better.
I would like to say that in watching last night and replaying it back in my head, how incredible it seemed like the Chargers could get the Ravens 2 third downs, and they just seemed incredible at them. And like the moment of the game was them going for the 4th down in their own territory, and then that literally turning into 7 points in the end. Truly incredible. Like even when it happened, not only was the touchdown catch awesome, but replaying the whole totality of events in my head, like I can't not acknowledge how fucking balls and awesome that was, and more teams should probably do that. But I also felt at points the Chargers were getting the pressure that they were getting against every other quarterback in the league and having success. I shouldn't say in the league that they had played, but Lamar isn't. Like, he just gets away in a way that you're able to get the other quarterbacks. And he's just so different, so demoralizing.
Well,
he's good.
Right now in the Offensive Player of the Year market, Saquon's minus 500 and Derrick Henry, I believe, is plus 220. Like, if the Ravens win this game, even if it's not a huge Derrick Henry game, let's say it's a pedestrian for Derrick Henry, like 20 carries for 91 yards and he scores a touchdown, but the Ravens win, they win by 10 or something like that. And Barkley has like an okay game, just not an explosive game. Do you think that flips in that market?
No,
Really?
I don't.
Yeah, it's volatile. Absolutely. I am.
Because like 3 weeks ago, you told us that Derrick Henry couldn't lose this award. Now he's a gigantic underdog.
I am still one of
I
these.
change my opinions when the facts change. What do you do?
I'm just saying that if it can flip that quickly over 3 weeks, why couldn't it flip so quickly if they were playing head to head?
You know, it changes opinions when the facts change on anything but Aaron Rodgers. I mean, let's call that for what it's.
Why are you trying to debate me?
I'm not trying to debate you. I'm just saying, like, that's a
I
good
didn't say
point.
debate. I
It's
said bait.
You know, at a point here, you're using logic. You're acknowledging the facts on the ground are changing. Therefore, my opinion is changing. That is fair. That is respectable. You can laugh at someone for a moment for being wrong, but when they acknowledge what everyone else is seeing, then you're like, okay, you do that with some things, but then there's Aaron Rodgers, and you know, you want to be the cat on a broom and just get out of here.
I love that beat.
So Baltimore.
I'm imagining myself as a cat flying away on a broom.
Yeah, I'm the insane one, folks. Got me. Shoe kitty.
Houston and Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a 5-point dog at home to Houston.
Shoe kitty.
Congrats, Geoff, on another successful campaign. It's over. You just have to run this clip back.
Just imagine myself as like my face, you know, like on that cat flying away with that. Oh, when someone brings up Aaron Rodgers, just fly away. It's a funny mental image. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, someone will make it for you. So there it
I'm
is,
sure they
buddy.
will. It's already a meme I thoroughly enjoy. So, like, I don't know.
Houston at Jacksonville. The Jags are 5-point dogs at home in this game. I'm guessing Trevor Lawrence is starting. Don't have that confirmed as of yet, but that seems to be the way that it's trending right now. Geoff, can the Jags have gotten themselves fixed over the bye week? And, I mean, the number seems low, but I guess Texans coming off a loss to the Titans that the Jags are around the Titans, maybe a little bit better, especially if Lawrence is back, that the number seems fair. It just, I really don't know what side to take. I really kind of want to smash Houston here in a rebound spot.
What do you think the number would go to if, you know, we find out confirmed Lawrence starts?
That's probably 5. It would go to like 7.5 or 8 if we have Mac Jones.
I think even with Lawrence, it doesn't matter. Like the one thing that we spoke about on the show, and even when Cam brought up his points of why he took Tennessee on the Best Bet show, is that the big difference between Tennessee and Jacksonville this year is, yeah, their offenses are kind of inept. They can hit some big plays with guys from time to time. And then you have the Levis factor on Tennessee, where he's going to throw you a pick six probably like every third game or so and make terrible decisions and take a bunch of sacks. But their defense is at least good. Like they have a good run defense. They can force turnovers. They can generate pressure. Jacksonville can't do any of that stuff. Like they are awful.
Titans are just good on defense.
You know,
Titans aren't just good on defense.
Yeah,
Titans are elite on defense.
Elite's probably pushing it.
Aren't they like a top 3 defense by the numbers?
They're ninth in DVOA on defense.
Okay, so that's a little lower than I thought they were. But they're still a top 10 defense by DVOA. Like Jacksonville's not like that.
No,
They are cats.
Jacksonville has the 30th ranked defense.
Yeah, but they are cats.
Jacksonville, like you said, they don't stop the run. So
No, they don't.
this is, I'll be honest, from what we know about Trevor, he will play. Like based on the injuries that he played with last year and some of the verbiage that's come out of the Jags camp in the last couple weeks, I would expect he's as healthy as he was at points last year when he played. The problem was last year when he played with a lot of those injuries, he's pretty shit.
Yeah.
And I used it as an excuse or a defense mechanism in some ways. Not that I actually care if he's good or not. Credit to Tim.
Thank
I'm
you.
taking the Jags. I'm taking the Texans. Uncomfortable and not really knowing what the line is going to be. They go on a bye week next week, the Texans. So maybe they could weasel one out here and try to fix themselves a bit.
What kind of league are we running? What kind of league are we running where teams can take a bye on December 8th?
Incredible. I get no buys on Thanksgiving.
Yes,
but
I do
2
too.
weeks ago, I had a week 5 buy, and then last week there was a naked week of buys.
Yeah, or like 2. Like it's inexcusable. Now, I'm old enough to remember back in the day when we had 31 teams before the Texans came in, and there was a team on bye every single week of the year because that's the only way you could make it work. But like, we don't have to do that now. There's no reason why we can't go from like week 6 to week 12 and get all those buys out of the way. To have a team having a bye in week week 14 is just ludicrous.
And that's not even, I don't give a shit about fantasy football. Like
No,
when I
me either.
say it, it's for the integrity of the actual goddamn league.
Neither does
Not the mini game.
One of the underrated things.
Of note, neither does 0-12 Tim Andercust in our league.
I'm doing all right in my other league, but like of note, one of the reasons the Buccaneers ended up winning the Super Bowl the year they did, what helped them immensely was having a week 14 bye against when they were starting to struggle, and then they sort of got it clicking coming out of a bye when they played the Vikings in a big game. So like these late buys can be incredibly advantageous.
Do you know? You guys are going to spin this in a way, but the Chargers had a bye on September 11th the week 2 that was canceled. So then they technically didn't have a bye at all the whole year.
Yeah.
Because that week went to week 8, to the very end of the season. And so they were on bye at the very last week of the season.
Well, even more recently, was it 3 or 4 years ago where Tampa and Miami were supposed to play in week 1 and there was a hurricane and they moved the game to another week because they actually shared the same bye. And both the Dolphins and Buccaneers had a week 1 bye. I want to say that was 4 or 5 years ago. So like these things can happen, but those are fluke situations. They shouldn't be happening this late or early in the year.
The only thing that's more egregious than week 14 buys is having a team play on Monday than having them fly across the country to play a team off a bye.
Did you know that?
It's not fair. It's not fair.
I mean, I don't know how about across the country. Did you know that Atlanta is closer to Canada than it is to Miami?
That's how close Windsor is?
Yeah.
Atlanta is closer to Canada than it is to Miami.
Well, Atlanta is in northern Georgia, and Windsor is far more southerly than people think.
So
Yeah.
what's southern Georgia? Like Jacksonville, like
Savannah.
the border of Florida?
Savannah is southern Georgia, isn't it?
So it's like
Sort of.
Savannah and Jacksonville like meet, right then? Is that pretty much
Yeah.
close?
Sure.
Sort of.
Well, let's pretend like that's a thing, and we'll go from there. I just wanted to throw that out. Here's the biggest thing in this game.
Jacksonville's the most northern major city in Florida, I feel.
Is it? Is it higher? Is it northern than Tallahassee?
They're about equivalent.
Anyway,
Okay, whatever.
Tennessee is around league average over the past 5 weeks.
Savannah is on the border of South Carolina and Georgia. So,
Okay.
I mean, not that southerly.
Okay. Do you remember what game we're talking about?
Yes, we're talking about Jacksonville and Houston.
Yes.
And I haven't given my pick yet.
Well, I'm going to give you something here. Tennessee, over the past 5 weeks, has generated a 30% pressure rate from their defense to opposing offenses. That includes, generating a ton of pressure against the Texans last week. That puts them 17th in the league over that time span. Would you like to venture a guess, Tim, what Jacksonville's pressure rate is?
30th.
32nd at 15%. That is 8 percentage points behind Atlanta, who's in 31st.
That is crazy because I watch Atlanta play and they don't even come close to getting to quarterbacks.
So if there's a week where Houston's offensive line can maybe hold up, this might be the week. Now you can pick.
I'm with you. I think Jacksonville's abysmal, and they don't have any discernible skill the way the Titans do. I will take Houston.
Well, they had the second fastest player in the league on their team. You always like fast players.
I like fast players. You're right, but it's not enough for me to take the Jags in this game.
Okay. Indianapolis at New England. New England is a 3-point dog at home. I was really hoping we would get a few more points here, Tim, because like you said, the Patriots have actually been pretty decent at home at keeping games close, and the Colts don't strike me as a team that are going to blow you out.
Don't need those points. Don't need any more points. I'm teasing the Patriots. I mean, I'd like to have more, sure, but I'm teasing the Patriots up
To 9?
To 9. I really like the Patriots in this game. It's a complete play against a dome team, and the Colts going outdoors in December in what will be a team that also struggles to score points. In what will be a defensive, physical game. And I think in the end, the Patriots will make enough plays to win. So I will take the Patriots, and I'll take them in the teaser.
No word yet on Michael Pittman, or more importantly, Josh Downs, Geoff, on the Indianapolis side of the ball. I would guess that if both those guys were declared in, maybe you get an extra half point on that, because their offense could look pretty barren here. Unless you just want to say, hey, this offense is Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. Although, since the return of Anthony Richardson against the Jets, Jonathan Taylor has been terrible.
This is a tough one. I don't know. They're such an enigma. They're such an enigma, the Colts. And, their wins... Their wins seem to be against all, I guess they did beat the Steelers really, really early. But that Dolphin win, which was a weird win, that's when the Dolphins, when it's over, are going to want back so bad. Winning 10-0 at halftime. That was their running backs just fumbled that game away all game. Now I'm just rambling. I feel like I'm going to take the Patriots here, but were you paying attention to that Patriots-Dolphins game much at all?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Tua was dealing. It was beautiful, looking good. But the Patriots, I don't even know, and you're going to call me an apologist for the guy, and I'll stand here on that for this one, because this will be my Drake May apology moment of the week for this week. To get a first down, he needs to get 15 to 20 yards. The amount of pre-snap penalties that team got in that game in the first half is so embarrassing. I can't tell if Jared Mayo is an okay coach or the fucking worst. I'm certain he will not be a good coach. So I can't tell if he's going to be okay or truly at the point he gets fired, it's going to be like laughingstock bad of a coach. So anything that happens on the field with that team, I believe happens in spite of him. Give me the Patriots here, though.
I'm going to take the Colts just coming off. I mean, they looked bad last week. They played the Lions last week. Teams look pretty bad playing the Lions. Is the Lions thing still going on, Geoff? I know you're plugged in with that teams that play the Lions lose the next week.
Trolling me. I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing. I feel like who have they beaten recently? The Jaguars. Who they beat the week before the Jaguars?
They beat the Packers. Then the Packers went on bye. Then the Packers won coming out of the bye. So maybe that ended everything.
I'm sure it is still a thing.
And
I don't really care, though. I'm taking the Patriots.
And they beat the Texans. And then the Texans won the next week. They killed the Cowboys the next week. So it is over officially. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. 3 just doesn't seem like all that much. And Drake May is going to make your ceiling plays like you always like. And like you said, he's going to play 2nd and 14. He's going to throw some terrible pass, or they're going to get into his face and he's going to fumble. And maybe they can make a charge at the end of the game to cover, or maybe even win. But I do think that the Colts overall have the much better team. Don't forget, the Patriots defense is ass.
Hard to forget. They don't really know how to tackle either. They were getting attacked. It's good to see the Dolphins just attack shitty linebackers with their receivers, because it was so frustrating for parts of the season for them not to be doing it.
Oh, for sure. And even to look at Indianapolis, I talked about that pressure rate. They've started to ramp it up over the past few weeks. Right now, they're 6th over the past 5 weeks in pressure rate. New England towards the bottom. And where Miami has the right type of players to take advantage of this of the New England defense. I think that weirdly enough, that through the passing game, like the easier passes that Richardson can make are the same sort of routes. Like, yeah, he's going to take his shots with Alec Pierce down the middle, but like Granson, Ogletree, Mo Alley Cox, just running those like little seam routes right up past the linebackers. Like, there's such an athletic mismatch for all those guys. I have no idea which one it's going to be, mind you, but it feels like they'll try to take advantage of that a lot.
I'm just talking out of my ass here, but because I saw some rumblings on the news. Isn't there some like insane Arctic blast coming for the Northeast?
I thought that was on Thanksgiving.
That could make sense.
Oh, maybe there is. And wouldn't that actually favor Indianapolis even more because they have two guys who can run the ball?
You would think, especially so, unless you wanted to play into like the dome team outdoors, but it's pretty cold for those Colts players walking to and from their car.
Let's see here. 41 degrees. It's going to feel like it's more than freezing. So, yeah, it's going to be very cold in that game. But then I would trust the stronger running game, which I do think still leans towards the Colts. But maybe that's why it's down at 3, not 4.5, something like that. I imagine if the Colts lose this game, what does the AFC look like? Is it just sleepwalking? If the Dolphins lose and the Colts lose, does Denver just sleepwalk to the 7th seed?
Yeah, listen,
or 6th seed after last night's loss, maybe they sleepwalk to the 6th seed.
You know,
like the Chargers are right in their sights. Denver's.
Yeah, but
I agree. You are not wrong, but like your attitude, like last night's result was highly anticipated.
like the Ravens winning.
I have no idea what point you're trying to make.
Yes, I'm just saying, like, it wasn't hard to picture this exact scenario even before last night plays itself out.
Sure, but
If the Colts lose, the Dolphins are essentially left to chase those two teams.
Yeah, but if the Dolphins lose on Thursday, they're not out of it, but neither is Indianapolis.
But what about the Bengals? The
And it
Bengals
would
could
be
be
bad
5 and
for
7.
and in some ways, the fact that the Chargers and Broncos still play, I guess there'd be 2 spots. There'd be 2 spots for one team. Yeah, Dolphins are very much still in it.
But
Absolutely.
look, the Steelers are 8-3. We've seen teams be 8-3 and finish 9-8 or even 8-9. So
Does
like
9 wins get you in the playoffs?
maybe
Probably.
10 definitely will. 9
does 9.
likely will. For some teams it will. For some teams it won't. I think 9 is probably where tiebreakers come into bear.
I have a question before we move on to the Sunday Night Football game, which should be pretty fun if Brock Purdy ends up coming back. But this is a heavy ad-buy week on the Pat Mayo Experience, Tim, and I know you listen to a lot of podcasts, and I know you too, Geoff, do the same. I try to put all the ads in one block so people can just skip them all, that they aren't intermittently just popping up throughout the show. That's how I prefer it, but I want to throw it to you guys. How do you guys prefer it?
100%. I want them all in one spot so that I can just hit my skip 15 seconds, skip 15 second button and move on.
The real hack to all of that is to change your skip 15 button to a skip 60 button. Skip 60 forward, skip 15 back in case you go a bit too far.
That's not a bad idea.
What would
60
you
forward's a little far for me.
like? Would you prefer to see 4 ads in a row, Geoff, or would you want like 2 near the beginning, 1 in the middle, 2 near the end? Like, how would you want it?
I'm not picky. I blast through them wherever they show up. I'm not picky, but yeah, and like actually thinking through it, like listener preference. Yeah, I think the 4 block in the middle would probably be preferred.
Yeah.
So if you are someone who skips it, go to shopdoer.com/mayo right now. Get yourself some pants. Okay.
Always use some pants.
Yeah, who couldn't use some pants? And you get a discount at shopdoer.com/mayo or /PME or the PME, whichever one it is. What it says in the ad. Maybe you should listen to the ad and find out. It's the best feeling when clothes fit good and look good, and you can comfortably wear them all day long. And that's exactly how I feel about my clothing from Doers. These are the most comfortable pants I've ever owned, and I'm reaching for them every day. Unfortunately, I get dirty. You know, I got 2 little kids, and when you got 2 little kids, you go through a ton of laundry, so it's not like you can just clean clothes every single day. You gotta wait for that stuff to pile up at the same time. But I wear my Doers as often as possible. I got 4 pairs right now. My wife, Let me tell you, it's working. It's working for me with Dewar, and they have styles that can be worn all year round. Their stretch performance denim and lifestyle apparel is built for doing. You know I love my Dewars, and now's the time to get your own because Dewar's Black Friday sale is on now. They've got up to 50% off these incredibly comfortable pants, and this is the best time to upgrade your wardrobe before the new year and find some amazing holiday gifts. Dewar sale runs through December 2nd, but don't wait. These items will sell out fast. So go to shopdewar.com/PME to get these great deals before they're gone. That's shopdewar, DUER.com/PME. Shopdewar.com/PME. Introducing the TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's sharp and it's electric. How is it sharp? How is it electric? Picture this. 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime-forcing, playoff on-the-line golf with 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour, like Tiger and Rory and more, split into 6 teams: Atlanta, Boston, Jupiter, LA, New York, the Bay. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. To learn more, visit tglgolf.com and tune in to the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up. It's golf. As we enter the holiday season, there's always a lot of people that just don't handle this part of the year all that well. I've seen it in my own family. And if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Mayo to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PatMayo. The holiday season's when people start to fall off from the routine. I know that I've fallen into that trap before, but I found now that I've started drinking AG1 every morning, it gets me on the path of where I need to be so I don't lapse at this time of year. And right now, AG1's running a special Black Friday offer for all November. AG1 is a daily health drink packed with nutrients to help you alleviate bloating, support sustained energy, and whole body health. But here's the key. You dump in a bit of water, half full of the bottle they send you. You dump in your scoop of AG1, cut that with your favorite juice. I like orange juice, so I cut it with orange juice. You shake that up, you pound it back. Not only is it delicious, you also feel great at the same time. And the energy boost it gives you over something else that you might consume in the morning is basically immeasurable, at least to me at this point. So this holiday season, try AG1 for yourself or even gift it to someone special. It's the perfect time to focus on supporting your body with an easy and surprisingly delicious daily health drink. And that's why I'm so excited to be partnering with them. Every week of November, AG1 will be running a special Black Friday offer for a free gift with your first subscription, in addition to the welcome kit with vitamin D3 and K2. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Mayo to see what gift you can get this week. That's drinkag1/Mayo to start your holiday season off on a healthier note. While supplies last. Sunday Night Football is San Francisco at Buffalo. This game, 2 months ago looked a lot better. Now the Bills are favored by 7 points, Tim, in a primetime spot. Purdy should be back. At least that's what the chatter has right now. It's a lot of points. I know the Niners just got blown out, but it was with Brandon Allen. If Brock Purdy plays in this game, and we know that going in, do you think that the Niners cover the 7?
No, I don't.
Just all Buffalo.
I think that team is very broken, and I don't think they've been very well coached this season either. I don't like much of what I've seen out of San Francisco. Buffalo we're teasing Buffalo down. They're part of the teaser, and no, I don't think. And it's supposed to be very cold. There might even be some flurries in Western New York on Sunday night. I don't know. I don't think the 49ers want any part of that. McCaffrey has looked very pedestrian since he's come back, and a lot of hope were pinned on him. And, the rest of their players, they miss games constantly for various issues as well. I don't know. I got no faith in this 49ers team. I think if it's a tough physical slugfest, I mean, I think Buffalo beats many of those teams in spots like that, but I do think they would beat the 49ers, and so I'll pick Buffalo.
I really want to take the 49ers +7, Geoff, and I just try to think about what I witnessed last week and how Green Bay was able to beat them on the defensive side of the ball. They just took Josh Jacobs and jammed them down their throats, and they could not stop it. And weirdly, like, I don't know if Coleman's going to be back for the Bills. I'm guessing Kincaid will be back. Amari's going to be closer to full health than he has been any of the past few weeks we've seen them play. But between Josh Allen, James Cook, and Ray Davis, they might just jam it down their throats again. There's nothing that San Francisco can do to stop it.
I mean, Bills off a bye here. It just, I like you, Pat. I honestly tried to think of some reasons. Like, let me want to bet San Fran. I thought the Packers kind of took it easy on the 49ers on offense. Some might say there was a lack of execution. I would argue they saw within the first 20 minutes of that football game what the quarterback on the other side was capable of. And in some ways that dictated how they were going to play the football game, which I think is smart. So it might cloud some of the statistics, but time and time again, they're shoving it down their throats. And you mentioned a few players, Pat. What about Bosa? What's his status?
I didn't see anything on him.
Because we saw what this team is when he's out. You know, Geno Smith will go on a 2-minute drill and go win a football game. So if Bosa's out, I might, will happily bet the Buffalo Bills here to win. Brandon Staley is not solving Josh Allen's problems. He's got a busy week. Not only is it Thanksgiving, but I'm sure he's getting a knock on his door from authorities. So I'm going to lay the points here. I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills. The 49ers situation, I mean, that's the question. Like, yes, the season is salvageable. They still play all those second leg division games, I believe. So in some ways, they absolutely still control their own destiny. I'm not where Tim is, but fuck, as a football fan, my heart hurts for the 49er fan because, don't cry for them as a fan of a loser franchise, but it just seems like a great proud team that is just older and injured, and they don't have the secret sauce of a few years ago. From Trent Williams to everyone, just feels like all their great players are playing banged up. They can't overcome it. And then next year there's a Purdy contract, and then how does that change the scope of what they're able to do in the roster they're able to do the second phase of Kyle Shanahan's era with? Bills.
I'm going to take the Niners +7, just hope that Purdy plays. If Purdy doesn't play, I mean, I don't know what this number balloons to. Does it go to 10, Tim? Higher?
Yeah, probably 10's not a bad number. I mean, Geoff had asked whether Bosa played or not. I think they said, well, Geno Smith tore them up. It's not as if Geno Smith's a bad quarterback. Geno Smith's actually a pretty good
I know, but relative,
like you made him sound like he is Brandon Allen or like somebody who just got real lucky. Like Geno Smith's an excellent quarterback.
But Geno
he went to God mode. That drive against the 49ers was like a tour de force.
Yeah, he's a very, very good player.
I'm just saying they are not. It's very much felt like there's the same impact of the quarterback with him at sometimes. Like they're just a shell of themselves, and they're already aged indifferent. Pat?
Yeah?
I assume you saw the story of the guy in the Circa Millions Survivor who missed the pick?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Well, we don't really know the details, but the implied value of the pick was, I believe, like $150K.
Yeah, I saw there are fewer than 100 entries left in Survivor because the Commanders
and
knocked out a
no
bunch of people
pick
this week.
No pick was entered. It's kind of hard to have like a fair and balanced conversation about it without your mind going to like a dark place as to like what could have happened in your life or someone very close to you's life to not submit your pick.
See, you say you say that, but I'm in the Circa like million spread contest, and I basically almost forget to make my picks every week until someone texts me to make them.
Imagine thinking the Circa Picks contest is the same as being alive at this stage of Survivor, but fair.
You don't know who the person is. Like some
Fair.
people,
You're
people
right.
are
We don't
really,
know the person
some
is,
people
but
are really
I
on
have a
top of
theory.
making. You're thinking that they're like you, and you'd be like stressing out about it the whole time. If you're entering one of these contests, you just be like, fuck it, I'm just making picks every week.
I don't believe the people still alive with the implied value of 100K of their team, not the team in like 830th place.
Is that what
with
I'm
their
in?
Circa Millions picks.
Yeah, but I was doing. I did this in week 1.
I have a theory. I have a theory, and it's not the dark and depraved one that a lot of people where their heads seem to go. I actually just think the guy went to Blue Sky and forgot, and like got lost because he didn't see it. They didn't have the vowels, and there wasn't people weren't talking about it, and he just forgot. So you're right. People forget all the time.
That was a really, really, really long setup for a really terrible joke.
No, that wasn't set up for the joke. I'm curious about what, if you heard about it. The whole thing wasn't a setup for a joke.
The guy probably got fucking hungover and didn't wake up in time to make the pick. That's the most logical explanation. Like the guy who was the cameraman for the Outlaw Tour. Which Tim still references to this day.
It's a great story. It's a great tour.
I don't know if it's still
If it
going
still
on.
exists.
I don't know. Random guy. Listen, it's worth a ton of money. I once had a chance to throw a ball at halftime at our college football game in my second year of college, and it was worth $25,000, and I didn't show up because I got too hungover and didn't wake up. So it happens. That would have been a lot. I guarantee you that's a lot more money to me when I was 20 years old than random dudes playing in the Circa Millions. That, I mean, if it's an implied worth of $100,000. It's not actually worth anything unless you win.
Yeah, but someone would actually pay you for that right now.
Maybe.
Like, there's a whole system. No, that's not a maybe. It's actually crazy. There's a whole industry of buying shares. That's a whole other thing. But you would be able to sell that team for over 100K right now. But it's gone. It's worthless.
I'm going to say, the people who enter this stuff, they probably just got lots of money. And you forget about this stuff. Not everyone's like some grinder on the internet being like, oh my God, I need to sell this right now.
I agree.
Because it's plus EV. It's probably some rich dude being like, yeah, fuck, I forgot. That sucks.
I totally agree with you. But I would say in the history of that pool, they don't usually get the no picks at this stage. The no picks are early. We see week 1, there's usually like 60. I think this year, maybe there was even more because the contest is so big. But it'll be interesting. I'm sure there's a confidentiality from Circa and the guys there that they know. I mean, God forbid it was a proxy error because that would be the end of that proxy. Right? But it's incredibly fascinating. I think there's going to be more of a story than dude just got lost in the mall or something. Lost track of time.
I mean, the guy could be dead.
Well, that's that we talked about it on. Yeah, he could be. I mean, that's fair. Maybe. You hope not. God forbid. God forbid. Or God forbid something worse, which I don't really want to talk about.
What?
Well, I mean, we don't need to deep dive this sucker, but
Are you just, if you're deep diving it, are you just actually just making things up of the worst case scenario? Like he's kidnapped somewhere?
No, I'm saying there is. Listen, you hope everyone's okay. That's all.
Tim, why don't you? Why do you seem to have as much information as Geoff does? Do you want to make something up too?
I have absolutely no opinion.
Maybe he's in jail.
Maybe he could be in jail. He could be dead. He could have got, like I said, hungover. Maybe there was a family emergency and he fucking forgot. And that was more important. There's a lot of different things this could be.
I would hope that your proxy, like at that point, your proxy would just pick a game for you.
That's not part of the proxy contract.
But I think it is, and then you should make it part of the proxy contract, and then the proxy gets like 5% if you win in the end, if they ever have to make a pick for you.
Hey, how do you know the guy was dealing with the proxy? Maybe he's a Vegas resident.
Maybe. I'm just saying it's so fascinating. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just like the goobers of week 1 or 2. I don't I don't know. It seems a lot deeper than that potentially.
I don't know. You see, you say these sorts of things, but I remember being down in New York and hanging out with some, especially when I was not a high roller at the time. I couldn't imagine the money these guys were throwing around. But when DraftKings first started, this one guy who's very, very rich was just playing $10,000 head-to-heads every single night in sports he knew nothing about and would forget to fill out a lineup half the time. Like, to some people, the money doesn't matter.
It's a range of, that's definitely a range of outcome probability. Just super rich dude doesn't give zero fucks, could make made more money trading crypto in 8 minutes than the pick was worth. Like, very possible. It's just, I'm saying fascinating. That's all. Fascinating.
I mean, it's only fascinating if you just think about like the potential of anything on the board when it's probably just the most logical.
Well, it's
thing.
fascinating because in the history of that pool, they don't, I mean, this is hyper rare for that pool. I mean, yes, you're right. It is rare. People miss tee times. They miss, like pros and get disqualified. They miss deadlines in life for things that are worth a lot of money or important. He wouldn't be the first person in the world to miss a huge deadline. And maybe that is just what it is.
Next game, the Chargers, Tim, are up next. The Chargers are a 1.5 favorite in Atlanta, who have a much tougher road to play than the Bears do on Thursday, coming off of
Can I
overtime.
ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
They actually do.
Why are they 7-3-0 against the spread?
That's now
They're 7-3-1.
Paul just shot me a death glare. Like, how dare no one was going to notice that, Tim, until you brought it up.
I forgot to.
I'm sorry.
I make the boards, Tim, in advance
Like, Tim is so goddamn
of last
dirty.
night's game, and then I forgot to change the record when I was adding the thing because I just didn't look at the
Tim,
record.
if Tim
I
was
just
my
updated the
sibling, he'd
spread.
tell my parents when they went away that there
thanks
was a
for throwing
party
me
in
under the
house
bus.
with a pot.
I didn't know what it was about. I thought maybe there's like a little joke there that I wasn't aware of.
Everything's
No,
a mystery
now
to you,
there's
like the audio
7-4
line.
and 0 without the
Yeah.
question marks.
The audio line is still probably the best thing ever. You know they don't match up with my voice pattern?
Everything is a mystery. I would argue that the
Everything's a mystery with me. Do you understand what you did for the last 8 minutes?
the Lions. Yeah, listen, I think that's a fascinating mystery.
Yeah,
what the
he's
fuck happened there?
Tim, he's trapped in an opium den. That's why he couldn't make a survivor pick.
Maybe
Didn't
he's,
you ever see Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah, listen, maybe like it's a Cam Stewart story where maybe a lady of the night like stole some of the belongings and left him bewildered and he couldn't access the internet and make his pick.
Maybe he wrote his code on a card and then gave it to somebody Seinfeld style, like when Kramer gave away Uma Thurman's number.
If I would say if I was about to enter an opium
I'm
den.
sorry I brought this back up. I'm sorry I brought this
If
back
I
up.
was about to enter an opium den and still had a Survivor Millions pick due, I would hope I would, even if it was in a few days, I hope I would like proactively let someone know what I want that pick to be. Yeah, the Bears and the Lions. Well, the Bears had to play an extra quarter.
And now they play the best team in the league. They don't have to play shitty Atlanta.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could like try to spin it any way you want. You can't like one.
I'm not the one doing the spinning on this one. You're the one doing the really hard lifting here. You're stretching this more than a single mom working 2 jobs with 5 kids at home, pal.
Who's Patrick Cantley's about to outbid her for a home. No, what I mean, it's a documented thing. One team was on bye last week. The other team played on Monday. The Lions finished at 4:00. The Bears finished at 4:30 on Sunday. But hey, that is what it is.
Tim, I'll ask you. Tim, who would you rather be? Would you rather be the team that is a 11-point underdog on the road on a short week, or would you rather be the Chargers who are favored against a bad team?
Okay, it's not who has a harder opponent. That wasn't what was debated.
I said who's in a worse spot. The Bears are in a worse spot. Hence why they're 11-point underdogs.
But in context of the Widowmaker, that is referencing like the rest
never
disadvantage
brought up the Widowmaker today, Geoff. I just said who's in a worse spot. And the answer is Chicago.
Okay, yeah, fine, sure. That's right. I'd rather be playing the Falcons than the Lions. I'm not debating that. I don't want to play the Lions. God willing, the Chargers do get to play the Lions this season. I don't think the Chargers are good enough to do something like that at a certain point. It's a really tough game, though. Pat is going to diminish it. It's a tough spot because I feel like they got worn down yesterday. But through the season, they have shown versus this tier that they are just better than this tier. How good they are, it's kind of hard to know because all the teams that they're in a tier with, I feel like we all significantly agree there's a definitive gap between that tier and the worthy tier of contenders. I'll pick Atlanta. Change the vibe.
Really? Okay, Tim, I'm taking the Chargers because the Chargers are better than Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's been bad for a couple of weeks, so it's time for them to have a good game when people have sort of gotten off them a little bit. So this is a perfect spot for Kirk Cousins and the Falcons coming off.
I know what this guy's
I like
up
Atlanta
to here.
I like Atlanta here.
By the way, he doesn't fool me one bit. This
I'm not
guy,
trying to fool you.
he's a soap in the wind. Like 2 weeks ago, I have to tell him to shut up so hard, stop putting the air, go away. But he wants so badly. If I'm going to lose my playoff spot, like I think Tim really wants to see happen, I hope it's to the Dolphins.
No, I don't want you to lose your playoff
when
spot
if
because it
I
would be
lose
to the
my
Dolphins.
playoff spot, I hope I will be honored to give it to the Dolphins.
I don't know why you assume I've got some sort of conspiracy
No,
against
you
you. I have
don't.
no
You just
you actually think I do. You think I want your team not to make the playoffs.
no,
when
but like
that's
because
not true.
when it comes to the Chargers, I can like remember what you say week to week is so inconsistent about them.
Well, they play some inconsistent football. The last 2 weeks, they tried to give away a 25-point lead against the Bengals, and then they gave away a 10-point lead last night. They didn't play very well the last 2 weeks. And so, like, if I'm a little bit more skeptical of them going up
But
against
you
an
picked
NFC
them
team
last
coming
week.
off, I thought they would play well last week. They didn't. Now you're telling me if the Falcons coming off by at home, I think they're going to win the game. Atlanta's a little undervalued because they haven't played well in a couple of weeks, and people forget that Atlanta has high points as well as they have low points. So I think Atlanta's the play. It's not actually some sort of
I think
three-dimensional
Atlanta
chess
has
against you.
I think Atlanta has a lovely recipe here, actually, Pat. They don't have Derrick Henry, but
Who?
I believe
Who doesn't have
they
Derrick
can-
Henry?
The Falcons
Oh,
don't.
let me write that down then.
But I believe that they can. I believe they'll be able to run the ball on the Chargers.
Okay. I mean, the Falcons have played 3 AFC teams. They're 0-3 against the AFC. They lost. I can see this game going a lot like week 1, honestly, against the Steelers, where it's just pressure city from the Chargers. They get into the backfield and they generate no pressure on the other side. Herbert has a ton of time. You give Herbert a ton of time, and Quentin Johnson doesn't drop every pass his way. Like, Ladd McConkey might have like 150 yards receiving in this game.
Did you see the splits on Herbert? Herbert throwing to Palmer and
McConkey?
Palmer and Johnson.
Oh.
Oh my God. It was like 3 for 14 with 4 draw. Just pain. Just pain. You did mention it though. If the Falcons can't get the Chargers' strength are those tackles. If they can't put pressure on Herbert, he's going to either hit his target or just run for first downs.
Like,
Seems, right?
I mean, you think you like in your mind, and I would agree with you on this, that you think that the Chargers are better than Denver, right?
Yeah, I believe on a neutral, they'd be favored versus Denver.
And
yeah.
we just saw Denver dismantle this Falcons team.
Yes, that was Atlanta on like corner 4, 5, and 6. I don't know if they're healthier there,
Okay.
but and on the road. But you're right. I mean, if you want to play apples, A plus B equals C, then yeah, the Chargers got to beat Atlanta based on the Denver game. Like, if you want to look at it like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Chargers are better. I think the Atlanta is on a tier below. It's the same sort of take. Like, I think Tampa's better than Atlanta, although Atlanta's beat them twice. But when the Chargers play Tampa, unless the spread is outrageous, I'll probably take the Chargers in that game too.
You want to know? I actually believe the AFC, the Chargers play a role in that AFC NFC South because they do play Atlanta and Tampa in the next few weeks, and I need to get a hinge win against one of those games. Because I could see the Chargers losing some other games. So the the NFC South better not beat me both times, or I'll be a sad little boy.
Yeah, I mean, no team from the NFC South has scored more than single-digit points against the Chargers so far this season. Don't forget that.
I guess, but they caught Carolina in the middle of their like lowest point. Like they benched Bryce the next week, and they caught the Saints in their like injury hurricane. But are you expecting the Chargers defense to go back to the defense of not playing Burrow and Lamar?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're telling me?
I am. That's why. I mean, I don't know if Mooney's going to play in this game. He might, but he's been dealing with that hamstring injury. It just and Cousins is like maybe he went to Germany or something during the bye week and got some rejuvenation, but he looked old like the past few games. And that's not going to be good against this defense, which is still pretty. Like, this defense just played, like, to compare, Atlanta's defense or offense is good, but it's not on the Cincinnati-Baltimore level of being good. It's that next step below, which I do think that the Chargers can handle pretty well.
Okay, I'm going to flip because I said earlier that
I had to talk you
I
into
thought
the
Chargers pressure was doing well last night, but Lamar can just magically make it not matter in a way that Kirk Cousins, when they close the pocket, is not going to be able to extend it, right? That I saw Lamar do. And I believe on third down, the Chargers will close the pocket. So, yeah, give me the Chargers.
All right, so Chargers for Geoff and I. The coin and Cust are on the Falcons. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Tim, everything you say about the Jets is Cincinnati in a weird way. They're favored by 3 against the Steelers. And the funny thing is, I kind of like them.
I do too. I do too. I shouldn't. I don't know why I prefer the Bengals in this game. They coming off a week of rest, but like the Steelers are coming off a mini bye. You want to talk about a bad and unfortunate situation? Cincinnati comes off a bye, and they get to play a team basically coming off a mini bye. Like that's a bad break too. I don't know. All my gut tells me that the Bengals are bad. They're not going to win, but my head tells me that this team should be able to score a lot of points. They should be able to score between 25 and 30, and I don't think the Steelers can play catch-up. And I like the Bengals here. God help me.
I kind of see it the same way, but I think do we just kind of swerve on what we've been doing with Pittsburgh? Like, Geoff, do you think that Pittsburgh's going to be the side in this game that everyone goes to, or people galaxy brain themselves like Tim and I want to into the Chargers? Or into the Chargers. Weirdly, the Bengals have kind of gotten old school Chargers stink on them this year.
Oh, everything. The Bengals feel like I've experienced the season the Bengals are having right now. Like ultra high end QB play, losing so many close games. If my defense was league median, my record would be flipped. It'd be the other way around, or better. So I feel like I've totally experienced that before. I don't really have an opinion. And I just, I mean, I don't know any more than you guys do. Clearly, I think I know less. I'm just going to not let it be a 3-side of the Bengals. Like, out of principle, in this AFC North game, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh, Tomlin as an underdog. They ate into the Bengals' rest advantage with theirs, as Tim mentioned. Steelers.
His game's. I'm going to take Cincinnati for the picks, but this game is an absolute no bet for me. I weirdly think that if I was going to put money on it, I'd probably just blindly take Tomlin voodoo here with the points. But I could see if I was going to bet this, I might alt line Cincinnati here. Be like Cincinnati -10, and they just run them off the field.
I don't want to be the old man talking about the weather because, oh my God, I had an embarrassing moment when it's like I'm literally standing there with someone and I got, it's like I'm at the point of my life where the conversational thing I came up with was, we've gotten lucky. It hasn't snowed yet. When we getting first snow? And I felt my body like die inside. That I'm just like that old pathetic guy talking about the weather. Is it not like is that Arctic chill I kind of referred to earlier? If it's, I would feel like it would have to clearly benefit Pittsburgh.
Maybe. I mean, these guys do play in cold weather, and sometimes these games go over. It's all baked into the over-under as it is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And unless it's windy, it probably hurts the defense more. But I'm just saying, could be the Bengals. The Bengals are not as constructed, don't seem like ideally constructed for weather and AFC North football. And we're getting to that time of year.
Well,
that's really the only generic point I'm making.
Well, over the past 5 weeks, here's the interesting thing about Pittsburgh. And we did see it a little bit against the Browns, although for the amount of pressures that Myles Garrett was able to generate, I think he had, 2.5 sacks in the first half. It probably could have been more than that over the course of the entire game. They're 5th worst over the past month in clean pocket percentage. So Russ just has to be on the move the entire time. So if they have to actively pass during that game, and they didn't have to do that in the Thursday night game, even though they lost against the Browns, they kept trying to pound the ball on the ground over and over because of the conditions in the second half, and then they got lucky and fluked into 2 touchdowns in the course of 50 seconds and got ahead in that game 19-18 before giving it up. That if they do fall behind, the Bengals can put points on the board early, that if they get down double digits early, as Tim kind of pointed out, it's tough for them to come back, because then although Cincinnati's defense isn't good, they can attack you, especially against a weaker offensive line.
100% right. And I would say of all the teams, like these AFC playoff teams, and they're in different tiers, the Steelers have the least margin of error. Is Houston flawed? Of course they're flawed. But they still have really high-end QB play that can make some big things happen. I want to say the same thing about the Chargers. The Steelers, their margin for error is quite small. And you mentioned a way where they probably wouldn't be able to recover. I could just see a lot of people blindly being like, I'm betting Burrow over the guy that just lost to Winston. And I don't want to I love Winston, but
maybe, but
I'm betting Russell though. I'm going to bet, I'm picking the Steelers like you, Pat. I don't have an opinion. Stay away.
Yeah, Tim, to look at it right now, over that time frame, the past 5 weeks, Pittsburgh has a 46% clean pocket percentage on passing attempts. Do you know what team is 4th in the league and actually has a 73% clean pocket percentage? The Jets.
Cincinnati?
It's the Jets.
Oh, well, that doesn't seem to make a difference.
So,
does it matter to you? I mean, I don't know if this matters because the Bengals have played good teams close and to the wire, but they have actually only beaten the Raiders, Giants, and Panthers this year.
Yeah, they've only beat the shittiest of teams. I completely agree with you. But at Pittsburgh, we saw it in that Baltimore game with Pittsburgh, is that Pittsburgh keeps winning all these games because they can establish their style of play early. That if the Bengals don't jump out to a big lead in this game, then Pittsburgh's going, it might be a good live betting opportunity. That if you see it kind of going back and forth and it's 0-0 and Cincinnati has the ball at the middle of the second quarter, or if it's 7-6 or something like that, be like, oh, Cincinnati's offense doesn't really have it rolling, and I don't think that they're going to get it going. That the closer the game stays, the more of an advantage that becomes to Pittsburgh, because they're going to grind it out. They're going to get that. They're going to have the magic and get that 4th down stop or random takeaway like we've seen against some of these high-powered offenses. But eventually that's going to break a little bit, I think. And then if Burrow's the guy that can get that going. And listen, Russell Wilson doesn't need a clean pocket in order to succeed. He can move around. He can extend plays. But we have seen a willingness from Russell Wilson, Tim, over the past few weeks that he's not even trying to extend plays. If it's not there, he's just falling down.
Yeah, he doesn't want to make a big mistake.
No. So eventually they're going to force him into those situations if they fall behind. That's why I think Cincinnati, like I said, -9.5, -10 is just, I think it's a better bet than -3 at -115 or something.
Well, obviously Mike Tomlin has gotten through to Russ, because I promise you Sean Payton probably watches Russ and was like, I was begging you to fall down and lose 2 yards on the sack, and not eight or throw a pick. Because he seems like he's doing the things that Sean Payton was dying for him to do last year, despite, in moments playing well and not turning the ball over. I don't know, man. Like I know Winston got the shining moment with that rushing touchdown, but there was again like that vintage Russ TD to Austin, like up the freaking seam in the snow. I just love seeing him look like the old guy again, or the older version.
You mean
warm
Mr.
and cozy.
Mr. Unlimited? That guy?
Before he became that guy. I'm talking about the other guy.
All right, we're at the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
I don't understand why people put bumper stickers on their cars. I don't understand why people think it's a good idea. I don't understand, like, what is the incentive to do that, to put some like catchy bumper sticker. Like if you want to decorate inside your car, I got no problem with that. You want the little things on the dashboard,
That's
or you
also
want
weird.
the Beanie Babies in the window. I think that's all cool, but not the bumper stickers.
Cool.
No, I don't like the bumper stickers. I think, it's weird. I don't get it. I don't know why I'm seeing it more and more where we are, and I didn't used to see it very much. I'm seeing it more and more all the time. And I know in the US it's prolific. So I don't understand where this all comes from.
I would say that everything that you mentioned is all a part of the same package. Like bumper stickers make no sense to me either, but neither does weird dashboard stuff or putting stuff in your window. That's all a part of it's the same family of weirdness.
Vanity plate in that culture
Oh,
too. 'Cause
vanity plate is the stupidest thing you could ever have. I do
Ever do.
not understand it at all. And it's
I don't object to it.
you never see it on like. You might see it on antique cars because that's a part of like you have the custom license plate anyway. That I guess I understand, but it's not like you're seeing the Maseratis in town with custom plates. It's always some guy in a fucking shit Civic.
Oh, I don't know. If I had a Phantom, I'd want a custom plate that just said Rolls.
Sure.
This is why you'll never be able to afford a Phantom. Right there.
I just think that would be really cool.
I think if you were at the point where you had a fleet that included a Phantom, it should be like Cust 1, Cust 2, Cust 3.
Even that, like no one why would you want to make yourself that identifiable with a
No,
custom
I
license
agree.
plate?
Well, I was joking, but you see, like if you had like a service almost, but I agree with Tim. The only thing I don't agree with is he self-owned himself when he referred to the stuff inside the car as cool.
Yeah, well, that's
none of
fine.
it.
That's fine.
Vanity
If you want to have like
plates,
a little troll
bumper
doll or something
stickers,
on the dash,
those
that's
people
fine.
who have like a stuffy collection or
Yeah.
a Hello Kitty collection out the back window.
That's
That
all
is so
charming.
goddamn obnoxious. There was an era, like, thank God, I could not stand, but thank God it is over, where these like stick figure families. Oh, thank God we're out of that. Thank God. But I hate it all. Vanity plates, decorating in the car, and certainly, Tim's right, bumper stickers. Like, get lost.
It's like the baby on board stickers when Marge said, "Now people will stop intentionally ramming our car."
Like that, those sorts of ones are a little bit of an exception. If someone like has a temporary one that says like student driver or baby on board,
Right.
that's not the type of bumper sticker I'm complaining about because those only stay there very short term.
But I don't understand the baby on
So
board.
what are you
bumper
talking
sticker.
about? F. Trudeau?
Or any number of like weird
Let's go,
stickers.
Brandon? Like which
no,
ones
like
are you
ones that'll
talking
be like,
about?
slow down. We're only going to meet at the next red light, like stuff like that. Like
Or like Jesus loves you, or the coexist with all of the denomination logos.
I really don't understand any bumper stickers. Why do you need to like tattoo your car with a bumper sticker?
I agree.
What do people get out of that? But again, if you want to like, if someone wants to have their stuffy collection in the back window, that's fine as long as it doesn't obstruct the view from the like. That's fine. You should individualize your space the way you see fit. But like, that's not like those are easily removed. It's not like a bumper sticker which like adheres to your bumper. It's like a part of your car.
Well, I think the new ones are more of like an adhesive.
Did you know that Geoff has a bumper sticker on his car that claims that he shares the lane with the bicyclists?
Oh, does he? He moves over. Well, we know that he has one about not idling, because that's the main reason he doesn't like Tim Hortons. It's because people idle in line to get coffee.
He was also very anti-aerosol cans in the 1990s as well. He was very concerned about the ozone then.
Stop acid rain. It's on the back of his Geo.
But the aerosol cans are dangerous because me and my friends would like play with those and lighters. So
What?
what? Alcohol parties?
Why would you play with an aerosol can with a lighter? That's dangerous.
Well, like what we would do is literally
you would take a lighter, like you'd be outside smoking, and you'd have the lighter.
People didn't do this.
I mean, I've done it.
Yeah, and Tim,
I have a video of me doing it with WD-40.
Oh,
Tim,
no, that's extremely dangerous. It's on the can. It's flammable.
No one would ever do anything dangerous, Tim. That would be impossible.
Tim, yeah, no, it's crazy. But I'm not even. I wasn't. You'd literally like on the summer camp on like the cabin floor, you'd like write a word and then light it on fire, and it was just dangerous as fuck. But yeah,
What?
I know, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't do any of those things. Those all sound incredibly dangerous and dumb.
You've never heard of like kids playing with aerosol cans and lighters?
I mean,
never. Who would do that?
No, I'm not saying it's smart. It's actually
I'd
very
never heard of
dangerous
that.
and stupid. But
If I had seen someone do that, I would have told them to stop. It's dangerous.
Yeah, but then no one would listen to you. You'd be like, yeah, I'll do it more now. Cust doesn't want me doing it. Sounds like a great idea.
It sounds like a terrible idea.
Just tell you, these things happen.
No, they don't happen.
This is like when you told us that no one at your school did drugs in high school because you didn't
I
it.
never saw it.
no, you said there were no alcohol parties.
I didn't say there weren't any. I said I was never invited to any.
People were doing drugs, Tim. Guaranteed.
You say that. I don't know that to be true.
Your high school had lockdowns. What do you think the
That had nothing to
lockdowns
do-
were over?
I don't know.
Wait, you had lockdowns, but you didn't know what they were over?
I don't think they were over substances.
Well, I'm probably not, but I'm just like, you weren't informed what the lockdown was?
It happened more than once, so I didn't really look into it. I was in the library doing my own thing.
But you weren't curious why the school had to be locked down?
I was more curious about when I could go back to class.
Okay, no. Class. I'd be more curious when I go back home.
Why? So you can set your hair on fire with an aerosol can?
No, but that was done those games by college. That was more like adolescent, like teenage summers, being an idiot, I guess.
Do you remember the TV show Bumper Stumpers?
No.
Geoff?
Yeah, it was like a video. They'd ask questions like trivia.
No, it'd be like it would be like a license plate, and it would have like letters and numbers, and you had to like reveal the letters and numbers, and it would have like some sort of phrase on it that you had to sound out. It was great game, great TV show. I think it was a Canadian game show that was on like.
Are you sure you didn't invent this in your own mind?
No,
It sounds familiar.
I just remember it had a great intro. Bumper Stumpers.
I'm pretty conversant with this type of culture, and I've never heard of this.
Bumper Stumpers is a Canadian game show. Teams of two players competed to decipher letter puzzles presented as fictional vanity license plates.
Oh my god, it was a vanity license. It
aired for 3 seasons.
But Tim, so did you see a bumper sticker that like annoyed you today?
No, but I've seen a bunch of bumper stickers over the last week, like just more than I'm used to seeing. And it's
yeah,
like,
but you
why?
don't you still have your Mitt Romney bumper sticker on your car?
Don't have any bumper stickers.
I support Tug Romney.
I don't
Tug
have
Romney
a single
2032.
I would never put a bumper sticker on my car.
Well, what are some?
For no other reason that I
What
wouldn't
about
be able
Jet
to do it
Super Bowl
correct-
champions?
I would never be able to do it correctly, and it would be like off, like it would be lopsided or something.
What about Jet Super Bowl champs?
No, I don't need that.
Oh.
A license plate would be nice. It could be like if they won Super Bowl 62, my license plate number could be like LXII. That'd be cool.
You think that would
like
be
if
cool?
you own the team, like
You think that would be cool, and you don't think lighting aerosol cans on fire with a lighter isn't cool? What realm are
that
you
sounds
from?
it sounds extremely dangerous.
so you would have LXII champs?
No, just the number. People would know.
So why don't you get a vanity plate for your hypothetical Super Bowl?
No, I don't want to. That's why.
You know, the people are saying, Tim, you
What are they
holding
saying?
on to that. If you want to maybe win some votes, you should probably hand that back. Like
No.
how the Jet season has gone this year. Some people are saying it takes away the credibility of, I know that sounds crazy, but of your hypothetical championship last year. Because we've seen the healthy team.
Who are the people that are saying this?
Listeners of the show, I feel like Garion brought it up a week or two ago.
Ludicrous. They clearly won a hypothetical championship last year. Their star QB went out with an Achilles injury in the first 6 seconds, and they still, with some of the worst quarterbacking you've ever seen, managed to win 7 games last year.
And this year's results
has been everyone. All the people who played well last year are playing poor this year. If they had played it, if the special teams and defense had played at last year's level this year, this team would be 10-2, but they didn't, so they aren't.
Geoff, I don't know if this exists or not, but I have a business proposal for you. You ready for this?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like Tinder, but it's for singles at golf courses.
Doesn't that just kind of exist on the tee sheet at like the golf nows and stuff?
I don't know if it does or not, but like if each club had it or the public club had it, and there were like singles who want to play, but they're like Tim and don't like just randomly joining a group, this could at least put a face to a name. You could pick people that are similar ages to you, maybe similar interests to you, so you get paired up with someone like you might get along with.
Sorry, I thought you meant like you actually like get a deep dive the person.
I do. Yeah, that
like
is
you
what I
get
mean.
to do
Like the handicap, like your
surveillance a
handicap
little.
would be on it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like for me it'd be like music 420 friendly, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Like smoking, drinking friendly. Yada yada. Okay. Kind of.
Because I also had this idea for married couples or people who just live together. Because Geoff, how much time when you sit, do you watch much television with your wife?
No.
Jeff's face when you said that went completely like wide-eyed.
Which one?
We usually have like a show that we'll do, but we don't get like drawn into each other's shows. We're at a point, let's be honest. Like we are at a point right now where it's just a lot of hecticness. There's like not really much time for like our shows, together shows.
You have 3
You're
kids.
You're not watching Dr. Odyssey together?
No, like 3 kids. It's not even the 3 kids. It's like pretty much just the A. There's still like a little guy, and it's just tough. But one day we'll get back. We'll get back to it. I'm not gonna lie. Last show, I think we actually just crushed together, would watch together, appointment together, would have been Succession. So it's been a while.
Yeah, so we find that like we have to pick a show because that's going to be now our like we finished The Mentalist. Thumbs up to The Mentalist. Big Simon Baker fan now. But now we just moved to rewatching New Girl again. But one of the problems is, and the reason that people do this is because you just fight over, there's so many streaming services, there's so many shows out, you don't know which streaming service to find them on, that you can't ever agree on what to watch on any of these things. That, if you were able, much like this golf app, to put everything into an app, and Tinder style, where, just, because we had this for baby names too, that's why it came to my attention, that, you would say, yeah, that's a show I would watch, that's a movie I would watch, no, and then she would do the same thing, and your apps are synced, and then it would give you a list of like 10 shows that you guys agreed on, what streaming service it's on to help you pick, so you don't spend like an hour trying to go through each one. Do you want to watch that? No. Do you want to watch that? No. And that spends like an hour of the time you could be watching the shows.
I agree. It's just pick the show, because if you try to like always figure out what you're going to watch, that feels like you're just extending the dinner game. And we've spoken about this before, but everyone knows what the dinner game is.
Tim? What's
Like,
the dinner
what do
game?
you want? I don't know, whatever you want.
No idea what this is.
And then it's like, name a few places. Like, okay, this, and like it's the same. We're playing the same game with the same places all the time. I know everyone in a relationship, even without the kids. Like the dinner game is a staple. Even when you're like watching football with the boys, the dinner game is like, oh, here we go. It's the dinner game. Tim, he doesn't know the dinner game.
Well, Tim will eat everything. once it's put in front of him, as we've already alluded to on yesterday's show, that he's just happy to be eaten. So he has no negative reviews of any of this food. But it's the same thing that we tried to do when we watch football here. Now that you point that out, when we first opened up the studio, we'd have a bunch of people every single week. Like, hey, where do you want to order from? Then it'd be a 45-minute discussion of what we should do. Yeah. And then eventually I just said, I'm ordering from here. What do you want from here? And it really sped up the process. And that's all these things do. It takes out that part of it.
Now I just get MREs.
Some of us like our lives.
Maybe I'm doing it for the sake of the show.
I mean, I could see Tim playing the dinner game. It's like, what should we have? This? Nope. That? Nope. And then Tim's like, you know what? I'm just going to reheat that toast from breakfast.
You know what the dinner game is for me? When I'm driving down the main strip and there's like 17 different places to choose from, and I'm trying to decide which drive-through I'm going to pull into. That's the dinner game. And 9 times in 10, that decision is made by, am I currently in a competition that requires me to go to this place, or which has the shortest line? That is often one of the determining factors.
Hold on a second. What's weird to me about that is, like, the line should have no bearing because we're probably talking about like 5 to 7 minutes.
I'm hungry now.
And
yeah,
no
but,
offense.
But you would have to drive up and down to see all the different places to see the lines.
You don't have to like pick a kid up for dance class or take a kid to an activity or get home from this. Like, why would 5 or 7 minutes stop you from just picking what at that moment you want more than anything else?
I don't want to wait. I'm not going to sit in line for 15 minutes and idle and wait to eat.
Have you ever spent 15 minutes in a drive-through line?
Minutes at one of these restaurants?
Several.
No,
when?
Stop.
One second. I want to ask the crew here. Jared and Paul.
At noon.
Have you ever waited 15 minutes in a drive-through line before?
Maybe at like Geoff's least favorite place on earth, Tim Hortons.
No, but they're
like
at least
hour.
I'll give them credit. That shit moves. Like, they have a process. They have a team and a system. There's no way in the morning people are waiting 15.
Yeah, like I line up like 20 cars deep because it's like on our way, knowing that like, oh, I'll be through here in like 3 minutes because people are just grabbing coffees, they're going. My order actually takes the longest because I get an Americano, so they have to make an espresso, which usually isn't made. So that's like an extra 20
in many
seconds.
cases, because I'm ordering off menu, they'll park me. And like that's an additional wait on top of the wait.
That sounds like it's on you. Give us an example of what you're ordering off menu, of why that's taking so much longer.
Like no tomatoes means off
stuff like
menu?
this. Like, or if I'm ordering something at McDonald's and I'm customizing, they'll park me. That happens all the time. I know that's going to happen. But that again adds 5 to 6 to 8 minutes to your commute.
Wouldn't you rather?
Well,
I would rather wait 5 minutes.
I want to know what you're ordering that's taking an extra 5 to 6 minutes to customize. Give us the order. Or like, hello, sir, are you collecting points at McDonald's today? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
You scan it when you come up. What's your order?
I won't do that. I'll give you my code for the box, please.
No, we're not doing that today, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You have to scan it up at the window.
I'm going to give you my code.
Our system is down. We can't do that.
How is your system down that it can only take my? You're not scanning my phone.
The number is broken on our inputs.
I will give you
we
the
just
number
have, sir,
that is on my app on my phone.
We just have to scan the QR code when you come up to the window, please.
Have a nice day.
Now you're stuck in the line.
No, I'm not. 9 times in 10, there's room to move around to the right or the left.
You think I'm gonna lose?
Giving you my phone to scan? Are you nuts?
What do you think
I'll give you my number.
What do you think they're gonna do with your phone? I mean, I pay with everything by tapping my phone to things or my watch to things.
But I'm gonna use the card that I have in my hand. Thank you.
Okay, but there's no difference. Is what I'm saying.
Well, it's a difference to me. If you don't think there's a difference, that's fine. You go right ahead. You do what you're doing. I'm not comfortable with it.
Well, your Apple Pay would be more encrypted than the actual card would. So
I don't use that. I don't know how to work it. I don't have it. I don't have it.
So you're already in the app, but you want to give the code and letting them scan
I always give them the code, and by the way, I've never had trouble. I've never had that trouble. I've always been able to give them my code. I start the conversation with, because they don't always ask, can I give you my code?
Okay.
And they always say, yes, sir.
And let's just say there's a scenario where the input isn't working and they have to scan it. You would be that Like you would feel that sort of violated.
I would be like very, very, very uncomfortable. I don't want to scan it. I want to give you my number.
Okay, well, would you just, instead of scanning it, would you just say, no, I'm not collecting points today? Or would that be too big?
Yeah, I probably would.
All right, so
Unless I was using my app to get a discount. Then I probably would deal with it and let them
You
scan
could probably like I don't want to help you be an annoying customer the next time you arrived, but you could probably just keep the receipt and then the next time you go.
Yeah, that's probably true. But anyway,
Um,
sorry. Go ahead. I've ruined this game. I'm basically being
No, you didn't ruin it at all.
I'm
Actually.
basically being Liam Neeson in that skit with Ricky Gervais right now.
You actually made you took away some of my craziness with you fighting with an 18-year-old in the drive-through.
Well, like I give you my code. It's fine.
Okay, sir, what's your code? Can I put it in now that you're collecting
1,
points?
2, 3, 4.
Is that really your code?
Well, it's randomized 4 digits every time.
Okay, I don't use the McDonald's app, so I don't know. So okay, sir,
Well,
your code is in.
You're leaving lots of money on the table.
I
then.
don't really. I Uber Eats it to my house for the.
Well,
So
kids.
when you give them a
I
code,
don't
you
even
don't
more
even.
money.
When you give them a code, you don't even have to tell them an order. The order like pops up on their screen.
Precisely.
All right, well, that's not working right now. The app isn't working.
Oh no! I still have to give them my order. I just have to give them my code. Then I give them my order.
Oh, so you're just giving them your code for points.
Yeah, or if I'm going to, or if the only time I wouldn't is if I had already preloaded a deal or a coup that the code is attached to. Then they would know I'm going to order that, use that coup at that time.
This is so weird that you use the app to this level, but forbid to pay through the app.
Yes. Well, I contain multitudes. I
Like
don't know
you
what to tell
you're pretty much, I don't know what the term is. I'm trying to think of the right analogy, and I'm a minor insane, so my brain is weird. You're like one of those Mormons, like you just go in for a soak. Like you're going like you're literally rounding third base, but forbid to go home, is essentially what I'm saying. Are you still here?
I'm listening to you.
You like you're literally.
Did you say you had a minor insane? Like that was your minor in college?
No, I'm insane. So
Oh.
my brain's insane. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get
You-
back.
you
Let's get
pretty
back
much
to the order here. Sir, you're holding up the line. Now we have been in a 6-minute wait in the drive-through line already. So I need to know what your order is, sir.
Can I have a double cheeseburger, please?
We don't have those.
No cat. Well, you do. Okay. Well, then give me a McDouble and put an extra piece of cheese on it.
Okay, McDouble with an extra slice of cheese.
Yeah. No ketchup. Add McChicken sauce. Add extra onion. Add extra pickles, please. I will also have 2 apple pies. And, I would like to have a large Diet Coke, light ice, please.
And
All
you
right.
have to.
All right, sir, drive
up
up to
for
the
that?
first window, please. What about that would take any extra time? Them throwing an extra piece
The
of cheese
fact that
on
I'm
it?
asking them to take certain things off, put extra things on.
There's no way.
That takes like
the
It
only
happens
thing
all
there
the
that
time.
would take extra time. The only part of that would be if they need to make some fresh pies. It's
Or if
the
they
only
just
part
spit
of that
in it.
order.
Or
That's
if they
extra
spit
time.
in it.
That happens all the time.
What, people spitting
Maybe
in
it
your
does.
food?
No, where I'm parked on this. Or yeah, it happens all the time.
Having a I would also put this
You know what
out
also
there
got
about
me parked a
McDonald's.
lot?
Hold on.
Last year was when
Waiting 5
when I
more
played
minutes at McDonald's to guarantee like freshness is probably a good trade-off.
when I used to play Monopoly last year when I played it, I would always order the 20-pack of McNuggets because you get 4 stickers. It always parked me every
What
time.
would
I
you
did that.
do with 20 nuggets?
Eat 10, take the other 10 with me,
Fair enough.
fire them
This
in the
isn't
fridge.
the States where 20 nuggets cost like $4.
No,
it's not.
I will say there are like especially with air fryer technology now, Tim, you can get the fries back up to an acceptable level because the microwave does not do any justice to McDonald's food whatsoever. Like reheating fries in
No.
the microwave is bad. You can get them a little crispy in the air fryer. Nuggets cannot be saved if they are not fresh. You do not want to be eating those things after 10 minutes.
He loves them. He's done
Yeah,
it many times.
I
Pat.
don't care.
Don't
I don't care.
Do
Yeah.
not tell Patrick Mahomes how to throw a pass here.
The McNuggets are just receptacles for the sauce anyway, let's be honest.
Do you think Andy Reid feels that way?
He likes his nuggies. Like, and plus at home I have lots of honey. So
You
like
know,
instead
Tim?
I can just dip them in that. That's good to go.
I actually had a tragedy this week at home, and most of the audience will think I'm insane, but I could tell you'll appreciate it. In an effort to clean the fridge, they disposed of my sauce stash.
Who did?
Oh no.
Who did?
You know, it's yeah.
Oh no, you can't get that again.
And my kids, they get a lot of Happy Meals, and they just like ketchup. So those sauces go into my sauce stash. I've been hoarding a sauce. I have not been
such
able
a
to eat
sauce
enough
stash
sauce.
in my fridge.
I've not been able to eat enough sauce to like. I guess I should have cleaned it. I should have taken better care of it myself, so it wasn't overflowing. And then it got to the point where other people felt that's enough. This thing's got to go. So I'm starting on phase 0 of a sauce stash again,
I
and it is
empathize.
quite demoralizing.
I have a
I had
great-
everything,
I have a great sauce
including the
stash.
Chick-fil-A's, everything.
Well, I don't have Chick-fil-A's because we don't have that here, but like a sauce stash / salad dressing stash. Because if you buy those salads to go, you can get 2 dressings, but that's too much dressing for me. So I always get 2 because you get to have 2 for free. So I always take 2, and I just put the extra one in the fridge.
And those Duke sauces, they could save any. They could save.
Those are good. Popeyes has a really good like Louisiana hot sauce in a packet that I really like. KFC has this really good Carolina style mustard barbecue sauce.
I like their
It's
barbecue.
really
yeah.
good. It's really good. So, I'm with you 100%. I have a sauce stash exactly like that. I keep it in a little tiny crisper in my fridge that, like, people I think probably put luncheon meats in. I have just loaded with sauces and dressings. I get it completely. I think most guys have that.
We save sauces like extra sauce from McDonald's for the kids if they have anything because they like dipping things in. But
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out this theory to you guys. If you guys ever wanted to go on a weight loss journey, just don't use the sauce. You would lose so much weight.
Well, some of these
sauce and soda?
some of these are calorie free.
Besides
No,
besides
Pat,
pure
the sauces
mustard
are the
and
worst.
sriracha, there's nothing. They're
The
like
Louisiana hot sauce is calorie free.
No,
It's like,
sauces are the
like
worst.
Tabasco.
Even
It's
at
like Tabasco
restaurants, even at like nice. I mean, I'm going to say nicer than McDonald's, but I'll say like even at like nicer restaurants, your chain restaurants, your like Cheesecake Factories, the sauces. I mean, I can't live without them, but yeah, I've seen stuff. They're the worst stuff.
The
for you.
Arby's horsey sauce can't be good for me.
If you want it, if you're like a really heavy guy and you're into the fast food life, it couldn't be easy to get off. But the quickest way to make fly off you would probably be eliminate soda and sauces.
your sauces you
to,
don't even
like-
think about. It's just something that you instinctively do, and then you have like 3 barbecue sauce.
Barbecue,
let's say,
yeah.
From
So like those chicken strips I had the other week that were tossed in the sauce.
Oh, delicious.
yeah,
It was
but
so
like
good,
but
too.
3 of those McDonald's barbecue sauce are like 150 calories right there.
Our boy Adon, he goes on sauce rants. Like it's just that is well, RFK going to war on the sauce. You know, he's got other things he's going to tackle first. Hopefully he saves our sauces.
I saw something about him doing heroin that he was talking about. That's a weight loss strategy too. Next set of games, we got Tampa Bay and Carolina. Tim, did you see Baker suing his dad for $12 million?
I
Sad.
did not.
Sad.
That is sad.
Baker Mayfield sues father's company, claims money not repaid for 11.
And brother.
Well, they're just trying to get a piece of that pie, Geoff.
Well, the thing is, it seems like Baker was giving them a piece of the pie to make investments, and then they lied about some things. So it seems like the sad part here, and I could be wrong because my reading perception isn't the strongest, but I did try to read the article. It does seem like he tried to include them. Like he did what a very successful, hyper successful person in a family might do, in potentially try to include your dad and your brother in some investments and let them, you know, get some grease droppings along the way. And they seem to have scammed him pretty hard, which is terribly sad.
I don't know if they were trying. The way that I read it, it's not necessarily. I mean, they could have just been stealing the money, but it sounds like they used that money to fund their entire company because they were just losing on their investments.
But
Like-
then they lied to him about it, though. I feel.
Yes, that's probably where it's at. So, do you think he plays with more vigor this week, Tim, or less?
More vigor? No. I like Carolina in this game.
How come?
They played respectable football for a month. And that's enough for me to take 6 points in division. I think Tampa is a bit at the high point of the market right now. And for good reason. They've been playing really good as well. Don't get me wrong. But I just think Carolina's a little, God, I can't believe I'm saying that. But I actually think they're a little tiny bit undervalued. And I will take the +6 in division. I think it's a good spot. I will take them.
Their defense is healthy. So they're not like the sieve that it felt like they were. I mean, they're not great, but as a healthier unit, they're, they got a little bit of vigor in them. It is funny, though, that the Panthers seem to be the only team this year that we want to give credit for losing close to the Chiefs. Because for every other team, as like a NFL fan consortium, we have decided that, you played the Chiefs close. That's just like everyone. You don't get special points for hanging with them. Carolina, we're giving special points to. I would argue it was the perfect Sunday for them. They looked respectable, and they lost to the champions. I'm going to take Tampa here, who hopefully come Sunday are a step. It's the double switch in the South. I know they'll still be in second with the tiebreaker, but what? Pat's 9-1 is going to be a pick 'em at the end of the weekend, I think.
Let's have it. I'm going to keep rolling with Tampa Bay. I'm thinking about making them my super lock as well. Just they're all gas, no brakes right now, and they're going to blow the doors off Carolina. Like, I bet Carolina to kick a field goal on its first drive. That's a pretty healthy bet. Their scripting plays coming out, and they were able to catch up a little bit in the second half. But not once watching the Kansas City and Carolina game did it ever feel like Kansas City was going to lose. Even when they tied the game, the first thing Cust said to me was like, "Look how much time they left Mahomes." It's like, hey, they're going to lose.
Yeah, they got to the goal line quick. You never want to leave that sort of time, but you're not wrong. I mean, I'm curious what the live line was on the Chiefs, even when the Panthers tied the game.
It was probably like -250.
That being said, it's I feel like there's a difference of opinion here, which is lovely, but I get the sentiment, which I feel could be common, that Tim is saying maybe Carolina is now undervalued. But on the flip side, Pat, I feel it might be saying, you know what? Maybe last week's performance might actually have them like overvalued and people thinking highly of them.
That's exactly where
short.
I'm coming from. And I think that weirdly, although Tim says this is the high point of the Tampa market, I don't think we're there yet for Tampa because they beat the Giants. Like, this is exactly the same number they were favored against the Giants last week. We saw the Giants and Carolina play in Munich 2 weeks ago. The Giants blew the doors off them and lost the game. So I don't see, and Tampa Bay just beat them by like 30 points. Like, why wouldn't Tampa just press these guys too? Like, Carolina sucks.
Tampa does play with that. Like, you're right. They do play with, you feel like if they win, they will cover. Due to their all gas, no break sort of mindset. I don't believe you're wrong, just from a perception of seeing what they're up to every week.
Yeah, like to look at all their wins, the only close win that they had was against the Lions in week 2 when they beat them by 4. They beat they beat the Commanders by 17. They beat the Eagles by 17. They beat the Saints by 30 or 27 or whatever it was. Then they beat the Giants by 23 last week. When they win big.
That was just my perception. I hadn't even stared at that. But it just makes sense because they get into wagon mode in the games they're having success in.
Yeah, and their offense is just very tough to start. The only team that really did a good job of shutting them down this year was Denver. That's it.
It's in 3 weeks. I'm nervous about playing them.
Seattle and the Jets, Tim. The Jets are so out of it, we're burying them late in the show now. And they're 2.5-point underdogs at home. You thought that the Jets would end up being favored in this game, but it's going towards the Seahawks.
I like the Jets in this game, I have to say. This is a bad spot for the Seahawks to be going across country to play the Jets coming off a bye. A Jets team that the whole world, with good reason, has basically written off the rest of their season. I can totally understand it. I think Seattle is going to be an extremely popular play this week. And I think the Jets win this game pretty comfortably. We're teasing the Jets up. I don't think that Seattle will be much trouble for the Jets.
Wow.
Not much trouble.
But I think
Geno revenge game. Eugene Smith
So,
the
like,
third.
it's just a good spot. It's a great spot game for the Jets.
Tim took the words out of my mouth with his close. It's in a league that feels so much about spot games. This feels like such a spot game. I'm going to probably lose more money here on the Jets. But you can't talk about the Jets without acknowledging, as someone that loves NFL minutia, like I eat it up, it's a disgusting hobby of mine. Got nothing better to do, truth be told. The stories that have come out of New York in the last week are as embarrassing about a franchise as I feel like we've heard in some time. Like the true top-down dysfunction of everything there is just remarkable. I'm just trying to think, like, yeah, maybe that's hyperbole. Because we've had other stories, but it just seems Tim thinks this team could be good next year. Maybe it is as simple as like a coach with a culture, but it's so damning. Yeah, I've very rarely seen stories as damning about a franchise as what's come out about them in the last week.
Well, Tim, how do you feel about the 33rd team founded by former Jets GM Mike Tannenbaum in 2019? They've been retained to provide data analysis and experience for the head coaching and GM job. Do you follow the 33rd team on Twitter? They have some like bad lists.
I don't.
They should have. That's another one I thought about reporting to the authorities over one of their lists once.
Like their lists are on par.
But you don't want to be the boy who cry wolf with reaching the authorities.
That's right.
Then they won't believe you.
That's right. They need to lock him up with Brandon Staley, and that will be the end of it. You'll never have to talk to the FBI again. But like, why are they doing this? Like, are they Woody Johnson's buddies? That's why they're getting this gig. Like, it's almost like I sent you the meme of like, guy is 12-0 in his fantasy league, new GM of the Jets.
I can't defend it, and I'm not going to. I don't know what their plan is, but I don't know much about the 33rd team either. So I'm not going to stand here and judge negatively before they've made a pick. We'll see if they put together a good front office and coaching staff. I don't know.
This news of this like brain trust that will be doing the Jets legwork here, presenting Woody with options, it does kind of confirm the thought that it won't be a rookie coach, that it feels like they're going to pull someone off of the off of the heap from that Mike. I don't want to say the Mike Tannenbaum era, but kind of close to it.
They helped
as we've
consult
spoken about before.
They helped consult with Washington last year, which landed them on Dan Quinn, which is working out. So maybe that's a positive. But I see exactly the same tea leaves as you. Like, trying to think. I mean, Vrabel was probably, I would say, the front runner for that job.
Him should be so lucky to get Vrabel.
Or Brandon Staley.
That is an attitude. That is an attitude adjustment. That is, he's old school, and some of the new age stuff that goes on in buildings. And I'm not talking about analytics. He's got no time for. No time. But yeah, Vrabel would be the best choice. I don't know why. Not that it's even been linked. I feel like Tim's boy Jim Caldwell's name will surface here before it's all over.
How old is Jim Caldwell? Jim Caldwell's 60.
We could wake up Norv Turner, bring him back.
No, he's too busy. He still had taken a nap in the Vegas OC box. Jim Caldwell's 69 years old.
You know what though, Pat? I will give you all the credit. You said it on yesterday. It's Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Pete Carroll. Listen, I think it's a great spot for Pete Carroll. I just don't know if he ever goes back there.
Oh,
Pete Carroll's even older at this point, but he still seems he has vigor. Like, he is someone who probably has better mobility than you, Tim. Pete Carroll.
He does have great vigor.
Yeah. And Jim
he's
Caldwell
sort of
will be
first-
70 by the time the season starts. It's not like he was ahead of the curve. Like, he's there to be like an old man veteran presence. But isn't that what your quarterback is supposed to do if you have Aaron Rodgers? He was 42.
The sort of like rookie head coach, if it is a rookie, would be such a what's the nice way to put this? I feel like it would be such like an afterthought person. You know, like, okay, I guess like that guy's never gonna be. I never thought that guy'd be a head coach, so he's not gonna say no. Sort of rookie head coach.
You would probably have to, like, if the Jets go rookie. Tim, can you stop texting our group chat and pay attention? Because I can see all your messages popping up on my screen.
Paying attention.
What's he yelling about? What's he defending himself over?
He's defending himself over the Cust corner, which we just recorded to one of our friends in chat, who's now antagonizing him in the chat.
Someone else doesn't like Tim Hortons. I told you, all Canadians
No,
agree.
it's not about that.
No,
it's about
about him scanning his phone.
minimize the amount of times my phone gets scanned so I don't get a virus.
What? You don't update your phone.
I update it. It has auto updates.
What scan it? Who's scanning your phone?
I just don't feel like the more often you scan your phone, the more opportunities you leave yourself to have your phone like hacked or whatever.
But your phone has better security than the debit card that you would normally be using, and that has access to all of your money.
I don't know.
You do know because I just told you the answer. It's funny.
It feels like
at the same time, Geoff, that you said a virus, a message popped up on my screen from our group chat in all caps that just said a virus with 3 question marks.
It's the ombudsman at work.
I get you think your friends are always trying to like set you up and pull the rug out, but more often than not, it seems like they're really just giving you genuine advice that you're afraid to accept.
No, oftentimes it's all an attempt to get me going.
No, it's not. Like, Tim wouldn't believe us about this, but if he saw anything in a TikTok video, he would believe that.
Yes, exactly. Some 18-year-old on the internet has more credibility than his like best friends from college.
I'm getting so many decorating TikToks right now.
Good. That's
you loving
your algo. Your algo's in the decor.
It's all Christmas decor or Christmas cocktails for some reason.
Give me some Christmas cocktails that I can make at the party. Give me some.
There was one that I saw that had cranberries in it and like Prosecco and like sprigs of whatever it's called. I don't know if it's
Spritz?
pine or
April
whatever.
Spritz? What are you talking about?
And then bitters in it. It didn't look very good. There were also like sugar cookie style ones.
It's a sugar cookie, man. A sugar cookie.
I love sugar cookies.
Black Russians, which I didn't know existed, which are like Kahlua and vodka shots mixed together.
Is that a woke thing, Geoff?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it was invented by I'm sure in like New York it's a $32 cocktail made by a dude in a top hat. But yeah.
I mean, Tim could wear a top hat with the best of them. And then claim he wouldn't be a weird hipster about it. Because, he's old-timey instead.
Yeah, but when Tim wears a hot top hat, he's like, it's an homage to Mr. Peanut or something.
It looked like Sir Topham Hatt off of Thomas the Tank Engine.
I tried to get my kids to watch Thomas the Tank Engine. They are out on Thomas the Tank Engine. Too boring.
Is it they don't like...
Too boring.
Well, do they don't like Ringo Starr or George Carlin's soothing voice?
It's too boring for them. These new kids shows are action-packed, Geoff. You've seen them.
Well, then doesn't that stand to reason that you should try to encourage people to watch slower moving shows so that they don't become overstimulated?
It's too late. They're already overstimulated. They watched Octonauts, and that was the end of it.
Oh, Octonauts.
I like Octonauts.
Report.
A new season of Creature Cases just dropped, too. Like, I'm big on Creature Cases. My one son just knows every animal there is now and told me about how Arctic wolves only live on the tundra. See, he's knowing things. At least that's teaching him something.
And now that they know every animal, they can now learn the collective of every animal.
Do you know all
That's
the
a useful
collectives?
skill. Not all of them, no, but I know several animal collectives.
Yeah, everyone knows what the crows are, but like other ones? Are people hip to
A
those?
parliament of owls?
That might be better than a murder of crows.
I kind of think so too. Or like, I don't know, a flamboyance of flamingos? Or covey of quails?
I'm taking the Seahawks in this game, -2.5. Geno revenge.
I'm taking
Mean Gene Smith is going to go run wild on the Jets. I'm just very impressed with the Seahawks defense over the past 2 weeks. It seems like once they got their interior back, Mike McDonald was able to actually execute the defense that he wanted, and that was supposed to be a strength of them coming into the year, and obviously it was not for like the first 10 weeks. It's starting to look really good, and I mean, the Jets are going to do something stupid and lose the game.
I mean, they'll definitely do more than something stupid.
I mean,
But-
the Jets know that they're going to be playing Miami on a 4-game winning streak next week, right?
I mean, this could be but that's the thing. If the Dolphins do win on Thursday, this could be a look-ahead game for the Jets, knowing that the Dolphins are up there next week, and it's a chance to spoil their season.
Definitely. That's what Rodgers gives a shit about.
Listen, he said that if he plays football next year, it would probably be for the Jets, Tim. That's very encouraging.
Yeah, if he would like to make the money on his contract, which I'm sure he does, I'm sure he'll be back. And I'd be
You
happy
want
to
him
have
back is the weirdest part.
I would have him back at this point. I don't think there's better options out there.
So you think that he would like maybe there was a 3.0 in there, and if you drafted a rookie, he would actually be like an old, like he would, I don't know, like actually help the
No,
kid.
there is no
maybe?
chance he would help anyone. Zero
None.
chance.
Rodgers at 41 might be different than Rodgers at like
No.
when
No.
No.
no, I mean he might have a realization like when they drafted it Jordan Love, he's like, that's not my fucking role now. Like I'm not ready for that role. There is a possible self-awareness that could click in to be like, that is actually my role now.
The only way that happens if they hire The Rock as the head coach and he tells Aaron Rodgers, you know your role and shut your mouth. But that's probably off the table. The Jets can't afford The Rock.
Well, can you imagine being like a rookie head coach having to go into a lame duck Aaron Rodgers quarterback situation?
I was having this discussion about the Giants the other day too, because people were pointing to like, could you imagine if the Giants gave up the offensive player of the year and the defensive player of the year, in which, I mean, TJ Watt's probably going to win defensive player of the year, so it's not going to be that. But what point would there be to having Barkley on the Giants? Like, they made the right move letting him go. All he does is make you a little bit better, which is exactly where you don't want to be right now. Like, Aaron Rodgers coming back.
Didn't we discuss this yesterday?
Did we?
Briefly. You
No,
just mentioned the Giants. I mentioned how I feel like the Eagles.
Yeah, I already heard that talking point about the Giants. I think it was yesterday.
It was in our group. No, it was in our group chat where I was talking about this.
No, I spoke about the Giants fans and the team. I feel like there's an unfair treatment of them giving up on a free agent running back, even from mainstream NFL people. And you acknowledge, yeah, like what would the point of the Giants winning 6 games with Saquon?
Yeah, and I don't think he makes them 3 wins better anyway. Like a good running back right now is a luxury for a good team. He elevates your team. Running backs don't make a team; they just keep them static. If you put them on as an enhancement or one of your sauces before they were all stolen, they can maybe make something better out of something that you already had. But it needs to be good to begin with. They're not saving anything else. They really are the sweet and sour sauce of NFL teams. But
you know what sauce I've discovered recently is excellent? Tzatziki sauce.
You probably just discovered
You've
that.
been going to
Noah.
Greek.
It is so good.
You've been hitting up Greek restaurants, have you?
Yes, and it was so good. And I was like, this sauce is so delicious. I was like really impressed.
Anyway,
and also I discovered a new way to make avocado toast. I don't know if I should tell people this.
The fuck does that mean?
Tell
I just buy guacamole and I just spread the guacamole over the toast, and I don't have to mash up the avocado or anything. I just throw the toast in the toaster, and I get the guacamole, the pre-made stuff, and I just put that on there, and then we're good to go.
He sounds so proud of himself.
I think it's actually kind of a hack that no one talks about. Like the amount of work that people have to, and I see this on TikTok all the time too, like people putting together like their really high, haute couture avocado toasts, and like you don't have to do any of that nonsense. You just buy yourself some guac and you fire that on that piece of toast, and you are good to go.
This guy just sounded like he invented something.
I don't know if I invented anything, but I'm just saying if this is a bit of a hack. If you enjoy avocado toast, but you find it too cumbersome, just put guacamole on it. What's the difference?
Do you really find cutting an avocado, taking a butter knife, and putting it on like
Yes.
butter really cumbersome to you?
I actually find that's a lot of work. You got to score it, you got to put it out, you got to smash it up, you got to put it, or slice it very uniformly, and then fan it out on your toast, et cetera, et cetera. It's so much easier. Just take the guac and spread it.
Well, guacamole and avocado aren't exactly the same thing.
Well, they're like 95% the same thing.
Nah, it's like saying that tomatoes and salsa are the same thing. They're not.
Well, they're
Yeah.
like 95% the same.
No,
thing.
it's like I'm dipping my French fries into a tomato juice, or I'm dipping my French fries into ketchup.
Yeah. So what you really
They're
want
different.
is sugar toast, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying you would enjoy guacamole toast.
I do like guacamole, but anyway, before I was cut off in the middle of this about your
Sorry.
new recipe for toast,
Well,
is-
because tzatziki is good. That's why. That's why I brought. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. I'm going to put myself on mute.
Tzatziki's good. You've discovered that in your mid-30s. Congrats.
I can't even remember what I was fucking talking about now.
It was Saquon and the impact that Saquon and Derrick Henry, like how them being added to those teams, going from their bad teams, and even to steal from you, Pat. Bill Belichick, I saw talking yesterday when talking about the same thing, mentioned when he got Corey Dillon from the Bengals is almost the exact same thing of the situation Henry and Barkley were coming from, and it just reignited Corey Dillon on a good team.
Yeah, and it helped their offense out. But it wasn't my point about the running backs moving. It's about the running backs staying. And I feel like that's where Aaron Rodgers is right now. Like, he's not the worst quarterback in football, but you're clearly not going to win a Super Bowl or probably even a playoff game with this version of Aaron Rodgers. So all you're doing is extending the year that you should be blowing it up to start the rebuild another year for nothing. And that's what you'd be doing if you had Barkley on the Giants. He'd help them be a little bit better, but therefore they couldn't bottom out and then try to get really good for the future. Like, you're kicking the can down the road for no reason with these guys.
Yeah, Barkley would set up some 3rd and 4s that the quarterback still wouldn't convert. Like,
Yeah, or maybe he steals you a game because he
pertains to
goes
Jets,
up.
though. As it pertains to Jets, I can't do that with having Devontae Adams on this team and Garrett Wilson on this team and veteran pass rushers on this team. I can't blow anything up. I just got to keep trying to win.
But you're not going to win, so you got to blow it up.
No, I'm going to keep trying to win.
you're gonna sign. You gotta sign Garrett Wilson and Sauce.
Yeah, I know. And DJ Reed when he
The
comes
thing
up.
about Aaron Rodgers is, do you think there's another team in the league, Pat,
No.
who
The
would
Bra-
say, okay,
Browns.
you like
The-
create a circus and like, yeah, you come be a good influence on our younger quarterback. Like, no
Browns.
way.
The Browns.
No, Aaron has painted himself into
Browns.
such a corner that it's only us. We're the only team available for him.
What if?
No one else is going to put up with the circus.
What if it doesn't work in Miami and Miami's like, you know what? We want to get out of this Tua contract. We'll trade you Tua for Rodgers.
That is so unfair to Tua.
No, I want to hear Tim's take on it.
I'd be fine with that.
But I mean, Tua has this 4-year deal starting next year. So you're
I mean,
locking
it's-
yourself into 4 years of Tua.
I would take my chances
With who?
with that deal. I take my chances. That wouldn't be ideal, but if that's the option I'm given, like I can live with it. Wouldn't be happy about
Thankfully,
it.
I'm happy you answered that. Respect, like I'm happy you answered that properly.
I wouldn't make that trade. I'd eat the year with Rodgers and try to find a better quarterback.
That's easier said than done, and the Jets are not good at that. They're really, really bad at that. I don't trust them.
That is the dumbest. Like, you can't not draft quarterbacks because previous regimes couldn't draft, were bad at it. Like, you have to.
Well, eventually you may have to, but you don't have to. Like the Lions are going to win a Super Bowl maybe without drafting a quarterback.
Yeah,
But when did the Lions, other than Joey Harrington, who did they try to draft?
They also drafted a Hall of Fame
Stafford.
quarterback who they traded for this quarterback.
Well, to be fair, they traded that Hall of Fame quarterback and got this guy back just for nothing.
Sure.
They
My point-
basically taking on his contract as a favor.
But what you're saying is that the Lions can't. If you're pointing to the Lions not being able to draft quarterbacks, they drafted a Hall of Fame quarterback the
No,
last
my
time they
point was
drafted
that you
a
can
quarterback.
win without drafting a good quarterback. They are going to win with a quarterback who they didn't draft.
But they're not going to win with Aaron Rodgers.
Probably not. But it's what else are you going to do, right?
It is Thanksgiving, and another year will go by where Tim has not clinched his playoff spot by Thanksgiving.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, you
see.
promised us every year.
Yeah, next year could be really special if all the bad luck they've had the last 2 years just goes back to even, and it just becomes regular luck where it's neither good nor bad. The Jets are going to be 11-0.
It is so delulu for you to think, like, to be sitting here now and you see a point where next year could be special. Like, you're not even prepared to lick your wounds. You're just like, no, next year, right back, special, hypothetical.
And
Yeah,
the
you're
Bills
right.
and the Bills can clinch the AFC East on Thanksgiving this week.
And that's great for them. I'm really happy for Buffalo fans.
Would you be very jealous?
No, I'm not jealous.
Next week's Dolphin game, where is it?
It is in Miami, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, so they'll be coming to you even colder then.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, is it better to lose to them now only to ruin their season later on? Is that what you would want, or would you like to ruin it now?
I want to beat them both times.
Yeah, but what Pat is setting up is like they get more excited about their possibilities.
Yeah,
Best would be if they win this week, we beat them.
If you
then
had
they
to,
win all their games to the end, and we
you
beat them again at the end.
if you had to lock in 1-1 against the Dolphins right now, would you rather the win come next week or at the end?
You got to pick the end.
You have to first tell me what happens on Thursday night.
They win.
Yeah, you don't get
Then
to
I
know
want
that.
it-
You have
then
to
I-
make that decision right now.
Then I want it this week because this week I can guarantee I can end their playoff hopes. At the end, they may be already out of the running, and I don't get that opportunity. So I got to take it now.
Well, they won 3 in a row or 4 in a row? I feel
3
like
in a
I'm
row. But like if the Jets, anyway, the only way I can guarantee I can spoil their season is by beating them this week. So yeah, you're right. It would be sweeter to do it in the last game, but I may not get that chance, and I want that
They
chance
play. People are going to the obvious. Oh, it's going to be cold for the Friday night this week. I was actually looking at their schedule. Their last 2 games, Pat, are at Cleveland, at the Jets. The league, like, I don't want to say it's up to the league to do them a favor, but that's almost like intentional.
Hey, listen, if you can't beat those 2 crap teams, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Even in a blizzard, you're probably right.
I mean, listen, you played on the moon for all I care. You got to win those games. And they probably won't. They'll probably go 0-2 in those games. Tim, I'm reading through just while you guys were going on about tzatziki sauce and everything, and I was looking through the chat that you've been responding to this entire time. Did Tim Hortons put 2 donuts in your bag instead of 1?
No, they didn't. I think the question he was asking was, why did Tim Hortons come up?
Oh.
And I think he anticipated it because they had done something to anger me when no, it's the exact opposite.
Well, people are getting their fill here for Thanksgiving. We are giving the people what they want, fellas.
Oh, I know. It's so indulgent. I'm sorry.
Listen, people are traveling. People have like 8-hour travel days here. They need to fill that time with something, and we're here to fill it for them. Or
And
Tennessee.
the weather's bad, and there's probably delays or traffic. More time, Tim. Come on. Think of something else.
Tennessee at Washington. We can talk about this game. Washington's a 5.5-point favorite at home. Listen, I don't know if the Commanders are broken. It looks like Eckler and Brian Robinson probably won't both play in this game. But are we at a point here where the Commanders are now kind of shifting to becoming undervalued, Geoff? Because they were just 10-point favorites in basically the same game a week ago. But since they lost and the Titans won, it's now half that number. It feels like I should be on Washington.
I'm going to be on Washington. I'm going to be on Washington to get off the mat here. I will say, I think Tim was the most aggressive about it, but I felt like I always aligned with him in never buying it. Like, it's nice, it's fun, but I'm not buying any talk of this team being like extraordinary. So them coming back to earth the last little bit doesn't shock me. Losing outright to Dallas at home, quite a surprise, but Jaden's going through it. He's playing banged up. Expectations were the moon, and then he got hurt, and it is tough. But I feel like we're another week away from when he got hurt, and I want to think he's going to start feeling better soon. I will lay this 5.5, and I think you could be right, Pat, that we should buy the dip on Washington right now.
They kind of need this game in a weird way. They're 7-5, and they have the Eagles and Falcons in week 16 and 17. Let's call those 2 losses. So to get to 10 wins, they got to beat the Titans, Saints, and Cowboys. And this is probably the easiest of those games, I would think, with this one being at home. They desperately need it. And the Titans are coming off a huge win.
Bad, really bad teams off big wins. You could argue any wins are big wins for bad teams, but truly upset big division wins. I love to fade after that sort of spot. So it also checks that box for me. This
is a Fienberg.
Maybe.
And I'm teasing the Titans up. I don't think Washington's in the business of blowing anybody out anymore.
All right, so Titans up to 11.5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 3-point game.
Okay. Rams in New Orleans. For whatever reason, this game really intrigues me, and it is Saints are 2-point dogs at home here. Don't know what to make of the Saints coming. What? What is it, Geoff?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say that so loud. I was just trying to look at how bad what the other game in the 4:00 slate was to accompany this shit game. That was opposite the clear power game of Baltimore
and Philly,
because I can't find another West Coast home team.
The other late game is Tampa Bay and Carolina.
Of course. Good. They've really, we speak about it a lot. CBS and Fox have twisted the league's arm to the point where they've essentially made themselves a prime, a window game.
Yeah. In half the weeks.
And 4 games are off the board on Thursday and Friday this week. That, one of those games might have very well found themselves, like Chiefs Raiders probably would have found themselves at 4:00.
For sure.
Yeah, they were so weak they had to push Carolina to 4:00. They needed a sacrificial.
I think initially it was Jets Seahawks, and we had to get that out of there.
The coin is taking the Rams. I mean, this does feel like a Rams rebound spot to me. I just worry that they cannot block anyone right now.
They haven't looked good in a month. Their win against the Patriots was sketchy at best. They looked terrible against the Dolphins. They looked terrible last week against the Eagles. I'm sorry. No, thank you. I'll take New Orleans here.
Yeah, I want New Orleans to win, Geoff, for my New Orleans versus Carolina bet that I have with Cam, but 2.5 at home seems pretty intriguing to me. I just think the Rams are better. These teams seem very similar to me, except all the firepower offensively is on the Rams.
I have no strong opinion, but I am tempted to. I feel like this line might actually be an opportunity to bet the Rams.
That's where I'm going with it as well. So
we're getting maybe way too much respect. We spoke about it last week that I was on Philly, but I was scared that it felt sketchy and maybe a weird trap game. The Rams were getting too much respect last week. I'm still willing to lay the 3 against the Saints.
The Taysom Hill disrespect here is next level.
I love him, but I'm still laying 3.
It's 2.5, actually.
Could be my super lock.
Yeah, this is going to balloon up to 3.5 or 4 by kickoff, I think. I think people will be all over the Rams. So if you want it, you get it now if you jump in. Final game, Monday Night Football. Cleveland, Denver. Denver's a 5.5-point favorite. See that Bo Nix is 3rd all time in against the spread percentage, Geoff?
Which game?
The one on the screen.
Sorry, I was just thinking deeply if I'm making this my super lock. I was just double checking into a stat. Bo Nix been playing great. Denver's been playing great. One of the better turnaround stories of the year. Probably they're every year there's a bad team that becomes good or a team we thought would be really bad that's good. Congratulations, Denver. Like, I don't know. I don't think they're as good as the perception, but they're beating the shit out of bad teams, and they're kind of doing a lot of the similar shit that the Chargers were doing. So yeah, I don't really have a opinion here, but that stat is impressive. I threw stones a lot, but I mean, the more we go here, I don't really have any stones to throw because I can't. I just have to acknowledge and give them kudos, I think.
Love Denver -5.5 here. I don't think it's big enough.
What would would you lay a touchdown?
Yeah, I would.
Interesting.
I think that Browns defense is going to be a problem for the rookie.
The Browns defense
real
isn't
problem.
The Browns defense isn't good though. They have one
And I
good
think that
player.
pass rush. I think the pass rush is going to be very difficult for them to deal with, and I don't like Bo Nix's chances in this game. I like the Browns to cover, maybe even win.
It's possible.
thing is-
It's possible. It's just I think Bo Nix is actually set up to deal with this pressure really well, and that's been one of the keys to him all season long. It's a lot like they're running Bo Nix a lot like the Dolphins run Tua. Like, here's your read. We're going to get the ball to you quickly. You might have to roll out a little bit, but here's where the ball is going. It's a high percentage throw. If it's not there, here's the one other thing that you do. If not, take off and run. Just don't take a bunch of sacks and don't throw interceptions, and we'll be fine. It's just going to be quick hitting all the time. It's sort of the opposite of the Steelers' offense, which tends to take time to develop a lot of the time in those passing plays. And that's why the Browns were more in the backfield last week than they had been in a while. So I think that this offense mitigates a lot of what the Browns do well. And I'm not even really concerned. Let's say they play it neutrally, where the offense, defense cancel each other out from the Broncos side of the ball. To flip it around, the Broncos actually have an awesome defense, and now they're playing Jameis.
Pat,
How dare you disrespect Jameis like that?
It pains me to say what I'm about to say, maybe. Well, the first part, no, I think it's obvious. I actually trust Nix a lot more than Winston to not
Do something
make some
stupid.
dumb turnover, put the ball on the carpet. But this actually goes back to the point I wanted to make. I could actually see this game playing out very similar to Chargers Browns.
Yeah, me too.
Like, it's just overwhelming on Winston. It's just a litany of turnovers. And in the end, maybe it's an easy cover simply because of that. I don't even know if Bo Nix has to play great. Yeah. I don't know how Winston isn't going to feed them the ball.
Yeah, this game feels like 24-17, 27-17 Broncos to me.
13-10.
That's really low scoring.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
gonna
it's going to be
take-
a cold, slow game.
I'm going to take the Broncos, but I'm putting this out there, and it's no secret. If the Chargers lose, the Dolphins win, the Colts win, I'm going to watch this game. I'm going to be like begging for the Broncos to lose, but I don't think they are. And that stuff hasn't happened yet. And I think I got to pick them. Denver. I'll lay the weird number.
All right, well, let's get to the super locks. Actually, Tim, do you want to recap your free money teaser for us?
Sure, it's the second of the week after the Pilgrim parlay. This week, I have given you the Titans, the Bills, the Patriots, and the Jets.
Oh, I didn't know the Jets were a part of it. So you got them up to 8.5?
Yeah.
On a 6-point teaser. All right, super locks for the week. I'm down to 4 teams, actually. So I'll cross off Arizona, who I do like, and I'll cross off the Broncos, who I also like. Tampa Bay or the Chargers? Geoff, are you taking?
Are we allowed to dip into Thursday and Friday or no?
Yes, you can. You can
No.
dip. You can
Oh.
dip into Thanksgiving or Black Friday if you'd like.
Okay.
I don't want to have any impact, but I want you to pick what you feel's your best pick and take that record with you along the way.
Oh, I'm just talking through my process here of what I want to do.
I'm going to take the Rams.
All right, Rams 2.5.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the Bucks -6 on the road against Carolina, Tim.
really wanted you, and you're 11-1.
My 11-1 super locks record has been legitimately just riding teams that I think are undervalued for like 3 weeks in a row, then jumping to a different team. And I've just jumped off at the right time.
I'm sure you've mentioned it in the last few weeks, but which game did you lose?
It was week 2, I think, whatever that was.
Hmm.
It was week 2 or week
okay.
3. Yeah, I think I've rattled off 10 in a row now.
Great job.
That's winning me money. Good thing I'm not betting every game. Tim, you're super lock. It sounds like you want to go to Thanksgiving.
Well, like 24 hours ago, it would have been Dallas on no questions asked.
But now DeVito might not
But
play.
now see, I know. So, like, do I hedge out and take the Bengals because that would be my other play, or do I stick with No, I'll stick with Dallas. Go in for it.
Dallas
Well, it
minus,
would have been
you know,
Cincinnati otherwise.
you know what? You can have Dallas at minus 3.5 because that's what it is now. It was 4
All
yesterday,
right.
but now you're taking it at 3.5 because that's what the line is.
I'll take it there. I don't love it as much as I did. It's not the freest money of all time right now, but I still really, really like Dallas in that game. But I said I really like Cincinnati too in that game.
Well, if you want to hear more about the Thanksgiving games and the Black Friday game, the spread breakdowns, we did that on part 1 of the show. That's available on the Pat Mayo Experience audio feed and on Mayo Media Network right now. And we're doing a special Best Bet show live, 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on Mayo Media Network with myself, Cam Stewart, Geoff Fienberg, The Coin, Jared, Paul, and Tim Cust.
Tim and Cust.
Not my name.
Giving out our best bets for each of those games. They could be sides, they could be totals, they could be alt lines, they could be props, and we'll have some underdog plays for you as well. As I already mentioned, there's going to be profit boosts, tokens, free picks, all available on Underdog the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. So the entire weekend, if you use code MAYO to sign up right now, and you get that $1,000 up to deposit bonus. So get your mom to do it, get your dad to do it. You help out the Pat Mayo Experience and get people to sign up and play using code MAYO. Okay? Have a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. We will see you on Thursday morning. Then again, later on a pre-tape show with Rob and Cam for the best bets this weekend. All right? I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience.
Tim, did you have Suzuki in Montreal? Did you have that Greek place on under us?
No, I did not because they only were taking cash. I didn't have any cash on me.
So when did your love affair start?
I had some the other day. It was so good.
And that was the first time?
I'm sure I've had it before, but like this time it like hit me like a punch in the jaw. It's like, holy mother of heavens. This is unbelievably delicious.
All right.
To quote Ken Griffey, there was a party in my mouth and everybody was invited.
Experience.